Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
Happy Thursday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout, which is presented by Two Hoots Hard Iced Tea, a Boulder Real Brewed Tea. Don't give a hoot, give two. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola, Marc Majeau with you here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, tune in iHeartRadio, as well as on YouTube. That's their thing from their website, and I love it.
It's brilliant.
Oh, it's good.
Don't give a hoot, give two.
Your mornings just got better.
Oh, I gotta read that every day. It's gonna be great. Like when I read it to Belzy and Eric yesterday, they just started laughing, and it's wonderful.
It is wonderful.
Hoot, give two.
Give two.
You know, you want some hard iced tea in the morning? You got a Dixie cup? Get after it.
It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast, if anyone out
Yeah,
East is
thank
watching,
you.
right?
Yeah,
Getting
good
close to
point, Mark.
lunchtime.
Yeah.
It's something in Europe. It's 5 o'clock
Exactly.
somewhere in Europe.
Exactly.
There's got to be.
You're gonna have-
there's Europa League today.
You're going to have a hot girl summer.
Starting with the two. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be great. It really is, especially when it's really hot out.
Yeah.
And you come in, and then 9 in the morning, you just cool off right off the bat. Because what better way to do it than with some hard iced tea?
Have you guys even gone to sleep yet after the game ending?
Ask
Around
that guy.
11? Yeah, have you gone to sleep yet?
I was very efficient getting out of West Edmonton Mall Hudson's. Great vibe yesterday, especially pre-game. Post-game after the win, people stayed for a drink, and then we did the show. Good show. But Maj, I actually went home and I finished up Fallout last night.
Oh, I'm still like just 2 episodes into that.
I
digging it, though.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm very excited to see where it goes, and I hope they don't mess with what they've created and try to get too clever, because they have something there that there's a really nice formula. I really, really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the thing with shows on Prime is you can tell they're not cheap. Hey, you
Yeah.
can tell they spent all the money in the world to produce this show. I was reading online that all like the actual copies of Fallout are sold out everywhere, right? It's
Really?
getting people wanting in to buy the games. It's been pretty fun. So I'm excited to jump in and watch the last few episodes.
I know you have a high standard, and I hope it lives up to it. So I had no concept or premise of the game. Like, I had no understanding. I'm like, is this going to be just a copy of The Last of Us? I knew Fallout, like I'd see the games growing up, and you know, because the first one came out in like 97.
Yeah.
I knew
It's been
it
around
was
that
like,
long?
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Really?
I knew it was post-apocalyptic, but I had no idea like the storyline and what the vaults meant and all of that. And then I also think it's very clever how they took this story, and it's part of the canon of the video games, but it's separate. It's its own thing.
Awesome.
Which was fantastic, and then the acting in it is great. Kyle MacLachlan, I think, from Portlandia.
Yep.
Actually, Fred Armisen has a cameo, which is phenomenal. So I absolutely loved it, and at the end of it, I was like, "This might be my favorite show
wow.
since Game of Thrones."
Wow. I think Matt Cassian was a big Fallout fan of the game.
Of the game, he would be, because
Yeah.
he's quietly a video game
Yeah.
geek.
So I think it was. So the next time you chat with him, you might have to bring that up.
Yeah.
Sorry to derail the
No,
story.
no,
good to talk about that.
It's-
Well, because
it's
everyone
great.
keeps talking. I keep hearing Dusty talking on Two Guys with the Boys about Fallout and
Yeah.
mentioning Fallout, and I didn't even know anything about it really. I haven't
You
thrown
don't
it
have
on.
to.
Yeah. You just get to jump in,
yeah.
and it's really fun.
So, but now, like, what has been better so far for what you've seen, Last of Us or Fallout, for the video game transition?
Oh,
Because Last of Us,
Yeah.
I haven't played the game
Fantastic.
yet. Still, I do want to, but anyone that had played the game said like they nailed it. They
Yeah.
absolutely crushed
They did.
converting it perfectly from game to TV.
Yep.
I think right now I still give the slight edge to The Last of Us simply because I've seen all of it.
Yeah.
So when I come back next time, I'll have seen all of Fallout, be able to compare them a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I just think from start to finish, Last of Us, and I think the Edmonton connection also helped as well.
Yeah.
Having some of this stuff filmed in our backyard, I think was really cool. I think
Yes.
for as much as the cast in Fallout is awesome, Pedro Pascal is
He's
like
brilliant.
red hot right now. So watching him do that, I think was pretty
So
cool.
hot
So it's pretty good. It's a good time for video game content.
It's also different.
Yeah.
Because they stayed pretty true to the video game in Last of Us, and they turned it into a show. Obviously, they've expanded some parts and taken liberties slightly. Whereas Fallout is, like I said, again, it's its own thing. based in the world of the video game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
it's not an adaptation of
No.
one of the games
Yeah.
or something like that.
So
they've just taken the characters and built a new story almost around it. Or
Exactly,
Basically,
and it is they said it is part of the canon. It's just of the Fallout games that have come out over the last 26-7 years. This is one that has not been explored before. They created a whole new branch of the storyline that falls into that world.
I'm fascinated by Amazon Prime because, well, like to your point of them spending money, like Rings of Power, they put a bunch of money into that, and they've committed a lot more money to getting that done. I don't know when season 2 is coming out. It's supposed to come out at some point this year, but when you watch it, the visuals and like it's
Amazing.
incredible. They're spending now on NHL.
Yep.
They apparently want to get in on some other things. But then I also heard somewhere else, I read an article a couple of weeks ago that it's hard to find in some countries. Like it almost looks like Amazon might be trying to pull back from Prime. But then they're spending all this money here on one hand, but on the other hand, it's like it's very difficult to find it. They're not making it easily accessible, which means are they trying to slowly cut away from it or something? So
Interesting.
I have no idea what's happening.
Look, I obviously don't know the full ins and outs of how Amazon's revenue structure works, but I do know they make billions and billions of dollars just off like storage, right? Like just their hard drives, like their government. They basically, I think they store a lot of government files and everything. That's where they make
They
their
host
money.
a lot of things.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. I don't think they make a ton of money off you and I buying toilet paper.
No,
off-
but what they get out of the Prime subscription, it's not the money, it's the data.
yeah,
They get your info.
Yeah.
They get the fact that you have an Amazon account, and what are you buying?
yeah.
What are you looking at? What are you
Household
taking?
stuff mostly.
But they now
backpack
have that
last
of
week.
Tom Gazzola, so how do we make sure I keep you as a Prime or Amazon subscriber?
Oh, they've got me.
Well, here's your hockey now. Monday,
they
I'm
got
going to
me.
for sure keep you.
Yeah, they
because
got
it was the Rogers CEO wrote an article, or was it quoted an article yesterday about this, and he talked about like this will help grow hockey or something, and it's like, well, in Canada, I don't think there's avenues that haven't seen hockey.
Correct.
Like I don't think we're growing hockey in Canada. I don't think we're finding this group of people. Like now, Amazon is going to reach these people that Sportsnet, TSN, and CBC have not been able to reach for the last 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years, you know?
Yeah.
Amazon now is also going to find some new Canadian hockey fans. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. And he's also buttering up people so he doesn't have to pay as much.
Yep.
Yeah.
You were talking about how it might be hard for some people to find. I know. So for as many issues I have with the CRTC in Canada, I feel like for sports it does kind of work to our advantage. Like the NFL had a playoff game on Peacock in the States last year. Thursday Night Football, I believe, is a
Amazon.
Prime. For a team you and I follow in the States, the Yankees have I think 40 games on Prime. They have
Is it that many on Prime?
it is. It's because Prime owns Yes. Prime is a part owner of the Yankees
Really?
network. Yeah, they own a small.
When?
I
Oh,
think-
that's new.
Yeah,
Or
so
that's, I didn't know that.
so basically, in the U.S., you actually do need to have 4 or 5 different apps or streamers to follow the team you like. Whereas in Canada, we are kind of we get the benefit of the doubt.
We've
I
been
guess.
lucky.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to stick around. But I do know. So, for instance, there are some bars in the U.S. I think there's probably some here that you walk in and it's 1998, right? They still have big TVs chained to the roof, hardwired for cable that they can't stream. So there's bars where you can't watch Thursday Night Football in the U.S., which seems a little bizarre, but you got to get caught up with the times.
Go buy new TVs that are smart TVs. And
Yeah.
well, I got this big screen from 1997, and it's
That weighs 2,000 pounds. That's a load.
you take
there.
that down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, what did I have? I had some guy come up to me at Hudson's Bourbon Street a few weeks ago. He's like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "It's a new sports station. We used to be TSN 1260, but we're Edmonton Sports Talk now." He's like, "Where do I find it?" I'm like, EdmontonSportsTalk.com or iHeartRadio or TuneIn, or you can watch it on YouTube. He's like, I can't get it on my dial. I'm like, well, do you go to Blockbuster to get your movies? Like,
Things are changing.
yeah.
It's happening fast.
Yeah,
Well, and the
exactly.
sports, it's one the NBA is looking at the streaming now.
Yep.
That's how
It's only a
know,
matter
like
of time
it's-
until Apple TV drops a big wad of cash for Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football. Or I think, could you see the NFL even creating one more primetime game in the next few years?
I personally believe that one day we will have a 7-day-a-week football.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
I think they will try to do everything they can to have as many primetime games as they can. And it's starting now with the Christmas.
Yes.
They never touched Christmas. They've played Christmases midweeks before.
Yep.
And then or on weekends before. And then midweeks would come and they don't play. And then all of a sudden this year they play on a weekday
Yep.
and went,
Huge audience.
we got massive numbers.
Yeah.
We're going to do this again. And the NBA has no counter. The NBA can't counter this. That's been their day. Well, now the NFL is going to be like, that's ours.
And Christmas has been the unofficial start of the NBA season too, right? Like that's really when, obviously it starts in late October, but Christmas is kind of really when it ramps up.
Because they schedule great games. They plan that. That's when Kobe and Shaq, I think, met for the first time as Lakers Heat and stuff. Like they schedule it really well too.
They do, yeah.
But then what did Roger Goodell say? Or the rumors are reports. They want to go to 18 games. They want to play the Super Bowl President's Day weekend, which is it President's Day weekend or whatever holiday they have in February when we have Family Day.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, now they're pushing back a little bit more. And that's where I could see that, through COVID, there was the Tuesday game in Pittsburgh or whatever it was. People watched the hell of it.
Yeah.
What's good? Why wouldn't the NFL try to build a 7-day-a-week schedule that you play on a Monday here? Okay, we need to give you'll get 9 days off, so you'll play a Saturday here, then you could play on the Friday here, and slowly move things around. And we just get a football game, one or two games a day.
I like that actually,
and we just get prime time.
Because you get home on Thursday, you're like, what am I gonna do tonight? You don't have plans. Like, oh, there's a football game at 6:30. Boom, away you go.
Yeah.
September through February, people will only watch the NFL basically.
Man, I'm already gearing up for like what you're describing, like just a gross matchup on a Tuesday night that I'm going to watch all 4 quarters of. It will be gross team A versus gross team B wearing. Well, I guess they don't wear the gross color rush uniforms anymore, but it would be like
mind that.
It'd be
The
like
Bears taking on the Panthers.
Thank you. I didn't want to slander any
I'll go
teams,
do
but
it. I'm in right now.
I'm watching Bears
Tuesday
Panthers
nights,
on a Tuesday.
and in the end, U.S. numbers at the very least.
Yeah.
You could have Celtics Nuggets. You could have Oilers Avs. All happening.
Yeah.
And the NFL game will dominate.
Yep.
I'm going to Century Casino. I'm going to see Lieutenant Eric. I'm going to get the Philly cheesesteak sandwich. Say hello to Renee on a Tuesday for Bears Panthers.
Poor Eric. They're going to make him work 7 days a week with these primetime games.
He likes it.
But the only thing that the NFL has to get to, and they're starting to do it though, is they never wanted to go on Saturdays because they didn't want to challenge college football.
Right.
But then they launched the Black Friday game this year. And that pissed off college football because the U.S. and NFL gets the Thursday. College football always had the Friday. And this year the NFL finally went, we're taking this Friday.
Hey.
And they're slowly just starting to look at this and go, screw it.
What are you going to do?
Bring it. Bring it.
Yeah.
Like, challenge the shield.
Yeah.
And that's where I do believe, I'll say within 20 years, it's a 7-day-a-week.
I'm here for that.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. There was a time when it was just one game or one day, right? And now it just keeps sprawling.
And now if you're Fox and CBS, you pay a big package to get a bunch of games on Sundays. Well, now you're paying for you get more primetime games. You get more games that are like, okay, well, they're just going to watch the 1 or 2 games.
Yep.
And maybe our numbers just go up. And now we could charge more for advertising because everything's basically a primetime game. And there's no small games. It's all just national.
Exactly.
Networks, I'm sure, like if you're a CBS or a Fox, sports are the only appointment television that we still have, right? Like that's the only thing. Yeah, like that's the only thing people go out of their way to watch live. And I obviously don't know the cost of producing live NFL game, but you're probably generating more revenue showing a bad NFL game than you are showing Young Sheldon or producing an episode of Young Sheldon or whatever the hit CBS show is right now.
Well, and also like they already have the crews. Because they broadcast all these. And 2, this is where the NFL could add more partners.
Yeah.
This is where you can go add the Apple.
Netflix.
Because they're the best at having everyone. They've got ESPN and ABC. They've got NBC. They've got CBS. They got Fox. In terms of the TV channels, they own them all.
Yeah.
You're not going to piss off the NFL because the NFL will go, excuse me? Oh, when's your deal up? You know, like you don't want to lose
That's
them.
too bad.
Yeah.
And now you've got Prime in there. And then you'll add Apple TV in there. And you'll just slowly add a couple more so you can control more people. And that's the way the NFL will go. And Smitty the Welder's saying 0 trans football plays every day of the week in 20 years will be flag football. I don't disagree on the flag football part. I don't think 20 years. I think longer. But like, look, they're already playing. They launched the Brazil game on the opening weekend. Isn't that the Friday?
It is the Friday. Yeah.
Like
the Eagles,
now we've
Packers,
added a Friday.
Yeah.
So it's Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday for opening weekend.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be long until we go, we'll just add a Tuesday.
Yeah. Ugh.
And we've got the Thursday already. So then it's going to be like, well,
5 days a
let's
week.
just get the Wednesday in there.
Why not?
And then eventually they'll be like, okay, screw you, NCAA. We're adding the Saturday. That will be the last one that they add.
What would you watch? Because I know you're a big football guy. Saturday at 11 o'clock. What are you tuning into? If there are both.
That would be the matchup. Straight up, it'd be perfectly because of the matchup. If you're going to give me let's say the Iron Bowl, it's Bama versus Auburn, or if it's Ohio State versus Michigan against
We can go with
Packers, Lions right now. I'm probably taking the college game.
I'm not.
You give me the Ravens taking on the Steelers. Yeah, that's my team. I'm going
Yeah.
to watch that. You give me Chiefs, Bills. Well, now I might. That's two. Like now, it's at a point for me. It's almost two TVs, but it would honestly it'd fully be down to the matchup.
That's
if
fair.
it's a boring NFL matchup in my mind, I'd probably go to college. If the NFL matchup is better than college, if it's one of those weekends, yeah, I'll take the NFL.
Do you have a 2 TV setup, or do you
Yeah,
have a tablet or TV?
I actually do. I realized I've been a screen multi-screen guy for like a long time
Yeah.
without even consciously knowing it. I have my laptop and I'll watch one game and then I'll have another one on my TV. And then sometimes I'll even go on my phone. I'll be like, hey, what's going on over there? And I'll flip it on there and I'll have 3 going at once. But the phone I try to put away and I try to focus on one of the two. But yes, I've definitely become a multi-screen viewer of all sport.
It used to be so rare, right? You'd be like only at bars do they have multiple TVs, but
Yeah.
cable packages, streamers, technology that, yeah, I think most diehard sports fans have a couple screens
Yep.
going, especially like nights during the spring where it's actually hard to keep up with everything that's
Yep.
going on, right? Of course, I'm watching 2 games at once.
I'll do a lot of, especially when CFL's going, I'll do a CFL game and an NFL game. I like to do that.
That's where TELUS is great with their wireless boxes. I don't know if Shaw has it now, but I just will grab my TV from my room quickly, put it up.
Oh, do you?
That's how, like, because I don't want 2 TVs just sitting in my room, in my
Yeah.
living room.
Yeah.
But it's just a quick unplug, plug it in. You don't need a coax cable. You don't need, like, it's just the power.
That's
and
nice.
It's wireless, connects, boom, takes the minute
I have
to
that in my
restart.
office. Yeah.
Set it up. Now I got my 2 TVs going. When I'm done, I can put it back. And like, yeah, it's certain times of the year I pull it out. Sometimes I don't need it. So
Yeah.
then, yeah, it just sits in my room, and it's very quick adjustment. Or I could take that onto my balcony if I want to just sit outside.
that's
and watch.
right.
That's nice.
It's beautiful.
25th floor, huh? Must be nice up there.
I think what
Not for you.
No.
I think what needs to also improve with streamers is the ability to jump in between games.
Yes.
Once an app figures just to make that easier, because I'm a cable guy, right? Like I
Yeah.
still like having last and being able to jump back and forth.
Yeah.
But whether it's MLB TV, whether it's DAZN, whether it's Fubo, it'd be nicer to have an easier way to jump between games. So I hope
Yes.
one of the streamers is working on that. That would make life a lot easier.
That
Yeah,
would be
that
great.
buffering that you get is just sometimes a little too quick.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just want to go back quickly just
Yeah.
to see the score and then jump back.
Yeah.
But it takes a little too long. And then I know, I think Joel keeps saying the Amazon Fire Stick. I don't have one, so I don't know how easy it is, but switching between apps.
Yeah.
I don't know how easy it is to switch. Like for me with my Chromecast, it's not easy to switch between apps.
Yeah.
So if a game's on Amazon, if the Oilers are playing on Amazon Prime on the Monday, and
Exit,
if I didn't have
enter,
cable,
find
or
it.
even if I have to flip from Amazon Prime to go to the NFL Monday Nighter,
It's a pain in the ass.
it's harder.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be more likely I'm just going to sit on one,
Yeah.
or I'm going to need a second TV going.
And I know you're also like me too. You hate being delayed. Or
Yes.
you hate not being live, and streaming depends on the app, depends on whatever. But yeah, Maddie and I are kind of the same. Even if it's paused by a split second,
Bothers me.
yeah, it does. So you'll get a text, you'll get an alert, something will. And to your point of putting your phone away, we
Yeah.
probably all should do that a little bit more. It's
hard.
But yeah, it's the struggles we're going through as sports fan. We've never had it easier, yet we're still finding things to complain about.
Well, because cable has that, whatever the term is, latency or whatever, it's small.
Yep.
Yeah.
When it's on, like it's a quick thing, whereas streaming could be upwards of a minute.
Yep.
And actually, it's funny. If you're on a betting app, sometimes that can
Oh,
update
yeah.
quicker.
Holy cow.
Because they're connected right to the thing. So if you're
Yeah.
looking at something, you can see that the goal will happen just slightly before your TV.
Good point.
But now there's that. If it's even longer, it's thinking. Well, I'm right by the Ice District. Like their TV's faster than mine, so
Oh,
the
wow.
crowd will cheer.
So you hear it,
and then
you-
it's like, oh, well, this ruins it, and that's
Yeah.
it sucks.
Yeah, it does kind of take away the
But maybe
fun of it.
Maybe it takes away us being on the phone. But I don't know.
Possibly.
It's fun
Yeah,
being on
maybe.
Twitter sometimes,
It
watching a game and seeing what other people have to say about it. Or that's how you find what's going good somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Like if you're watching Oilers last night and then all of a sudden someone's saying Mavs Clippers. Oh my God, what did this play? Oh, I should flip
Flip
over to
over.
see what there is. But I won't do that as much if the streaming's not there.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating new world we're going into
It
with
is.
this sports, but cable's the thing.
It is, yeah. And I know the numbers are certainly dropping quite a bit, but I'm still a classic cable guy.
Oh, really quick. I was looking at my cable bill a few months ago and I'm like, this is BS. So I just called them. I'm like, listen, you got to cut this. I think I was paying like $5 a month for a phone, like a hard line in my new place. And I'm like, why do I have a hard line? And then I call him like, just get rid of this. Like, why are you charging me for this? I don't need it. I don't use it. The guy's like, yeah, let me see what I can do. And he comes back. He's like, listen, they bundled it up to reduce your price. I can also cut your monthly price by another $50 if you want. You just got to keep the phone line. And I was like, done.
I don't know how that math works out.
I don't either.
Awesome.
It just, what it tells me is that they're ripping us off.
Yes, that's fair.
We get just raked over the coals in Canada.
That happened to me a year ago. Like my TELUS bill when I first got TELUS, it just kept going up, and I didn't. It's just going up, whatever. I don't care. Then finally got to a point they jumped at another like $10. I'm like, this is enough. Like,
Enough.
I'm gonna go to IPTV right away here. I'm gonna do this cheaper and stuff. So I called them like, unless you could do something for me, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Like it's just, I'm sorry. And they're like, oh, let's see what we could do. And they gave me a security camera and they bumped me down $45 or something. It's like, okay, sure. You got me. I'm stuck here. Yeah, you've got me.
You got me.
Thanks.
You win.
In 2 years from now, I know, okay, well, I'm just going to do the same thing again. I'll threaten to cancel. And if they don't give me anything, I'll just, again, go the IPTV route because it'll be a lot easier.
It just tells you how much we're getting screwed over. And then even like phones too.
Yeah, I was gonna. Do you have a heart? So you have the line. Do you have a phone?
No.
Yeah. Could you even go into a store and buy a phone now? They still sell phones.
A lot of probably go to
I actually
Costco.
do want a hard line one day.
Yeah.
Again.
Just cause.
You want to be that old?
My phone's always on silent.
Yeah.
And it's one, if I'm home and there's like some sort of emergency somewhere, that's how you could reach me. It'd be an emergency phone. Straight up,
fair.
if I don't answer on my cell, call there if you absolutely need me. Because if I'm home, then I'll pick up. That's the only reason. Emergency.
You can have mine.
I'll run along the wire all the way up
we'll
our
run
stairwell. Just in there.
Matthew, it's for you.
This is the EST Angle presented by Two Hoots, Iwanyk, Marc Majeau of MCTV, and Tom Gazzola with you here. Jason Palmer, college football's on the way out. Only a handful of good teams because of all the player movement. There are not only a handful of good teams. College football's on the way out as we know it, but it's just going to become another professional league.
Yeah.
That's all it's going to become.
I also think we'll get to a point where they hit reset with all this with all this different conference stuff. I think it's gotten way too far in college. I think in maybe 10 years, someone who's smarter than me will just say, like, let's put the Pac-10 teams back in the Pac-10. Let's get things back down to normal.
Oh, I now have to find, if I could quickly do it. Somebody posted, because the plan is there's rumors that they're going to create a super league and they're going to grab like 58 teams or something and they're going to just break off and do it themselves. And they put them in divisions. And it was the Pac-10 was right there and the ACC was right there. The SEC was right there. And you're like, this is what we just had. And you guys now have cut away from it just to maybe go back to this.
Right.
I think the Chip Kelly model, I agree with you. I think that's where we'll see, where he talked about it after college bowl season this year, where he says, why is swimming doing this?
Right.
Why is basketball doing this? Why is hockey doing this?
Let football do it on
Let
its own.
football break apart.
Yeah.
Let college football become its own business and entity and take whatever teams you want and put them in whatever conferences you want and align it however you want. And then have the Pac-12 be the Pac-12 so that the player playing volleyball in Washington is going to Arizona as opposed to Ohio State for a game.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure,
so
cut
true.
down. The first game of Michigan's regular season, I think, is home to Texas, which is just a weird thing to kind of think about.
Michigan, this calendar year, will play all the teams from the playoffs.
Wow.
Because they played Alabama, they played Washington, they play Washington again, and they'll play Texas.
Wow. That's a tough year, first year sans Harbaugh.
Yeah.
It'll be tricky for them.
Good
Yeah.
No
luck.
JJ McCarthy.
It'll be really tricky to rebuild that.
And same with Washington. They've lost a lot of players.
That's their coach, right? He went to Bama?
Yeah. Yeah, well, and of the 4 teams last year, only Texas has their coach returning.
Wow.
Because Michigan's gone.
So didn't
Bama's
Sarkisian
gone.
move?
No, he's Texas.
stayed, that's right.
But there was a chance that people thought that Harbaugh would leave, Saban retired, Sarkisian would take over Bama, and DeBoer would maybe take over the Seahawks.
Oh,
And then all 4 were going to need new coaches. But instead, Sarkisian stayed, DeBoer went to Alabama, and 3 needed coaches. Because the success of the NCAA is you get to the top, and I got to leave.
Gotta go.
Did you see how good Saban was during the draft? He and
was
both
good.
Bill Belichick.
I didn't watch Bill, but I saw some clips.
Yeah, when Bill Belichick is engaged, he is incredibly entertaining and incredibly charming. And like, Tom, I'm sure you've been around coaches who are rather crusty towards the media.
Yeah.
But if you get them in the right scenario, they're great storytellers. They can move things along, and that's exactly what Bill Belichick was. I think him going on Pat McAfee was one of the perfect places for him because the McAfee show isn't super serious. Like, while it's a juggernaut, obviously, dropping an adult like Bill Belichick into that show, I think was the perfect place for him because they let him cook to sound like a Gen Z or whatever, whichever generation says that. And the story he told about Randy Moss, it's like a 4 or 5 minute story, but they let him tell the story and it was perfect. He knew he had the right jokes to drop in. Like Bill Belichick and Nick Saban, they're clearly good at preparing. So they're going to be good if they want to go into the booth eventually full time or on the panel full time. And there's lots of changes happening. Like CBS just got rid of Sims and Boomer, replaced them with Matt Ryan, which is kind of an odd move.
I didn't know about Sims.
Yeah, it was Sims and Boomer.
And I didn't know Matt Ryan's coming in.
Yeah, that was their replacement. I always thought
I don't mind that.
Sims and Boomer were kind of redundant. I feel like they were the same kind of person.
I sometimes confuse the two.
Yeah.
You could forget, realize, and I think maybe it was easy when Sims was on the road in the booth with Nance, but now that they were together,
it's kind of the same guy.
But Matt Ryan is generic Dockers polo boring guy.
Maybe they get it out of him.
Or also maybe, I'm sure Matt Ryan is cheaper than Phil Sims and Boomer at this point. I feel like Ryan's just the younger version of those two guys right now.
Okay, fair enough. Like very standard cookie cutter. But you know who I've actually really liked is Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Speaking of old quarterbacks, I've enjoyed Alex Smith in his perspective. When he's on there, he's good.
Yeah, no, it's nice that they're not just putting any former athlete on TV anymore.
Right.
There's a lot of work that is done with these guys behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Excited is not the word. Curious to see what they do with Jason Kelsey on ESPN.
Yeah.
If it's going to be a panel or if it's going to be
Jokes.
Yeah, or if it's, have you ever watched Peyton's Places? Well, they'll send Peyton ahead to do, I think Kelsey could do something fun like that. I don't know what their plans are for him, but curious that he signed on with ESPN and likely going to be a big part of their Monday Night Football coverage.
I want to see Tom Brady. I didn't think Tom Brady would be good. I didn't think so. And then there was a clip that was on the internet a couple months ago of him breaking down a play. And I was like, this is brilliant analysis. And then it hit me and then there was another clip. Dan Le Batard was making a comment. He was on with Mina Kimes and Pablo Torre. And Dan Le Batard kept talking about how is Tom Brady going to be able to in the moment react to what is happening and say something. And Mina Kimes jumped in like he did for the last 20 years, lining up at a line and reading a defense in a split second and making a play. This guy he, as you just said with quarterback, so prepared.
Yeah.
He knows he can read things in a split second of football. And then when I saw this clip, it's he could also articulate it so well. I thought he would be crap on a broadcast, but once I saw that, I'm like, if this guy could give me great insight into what is happening, this guy could actually be a brilliant broadcaster. And now I really want to see it in Fox this year.
What's our theory on Tony Romo and why he's changed his style again? Did somebody talk to him? Is that what we thought?
There was one person, I remember somebody on the Hangout once saying that they thought that they talked to him to stop with the calling of the plays, predicting it, that the teams might have been upset.
Right.
That you keep calling this and stuff.
Yeah.
It also just doesn't seem like he's just coasting, it feels like.
He's earned a lot of money. And he's got a very big contract. I think we all love Tony right at the start.
I like his energy. Yeah.
I just think there's certain things you can't learn. That's a job you have to learn on the fly, right? You need as many reps as possible. I don't know if you guys remember the game-winning Super Bowl and the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl, but he talked for 20 seconds after that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm shocked they didn't pull his mic from that. It was noticeably stomping on what could have been a very cool moment.
Right.
So those are things you don't really know until you go through it, right? And, Bob Cole passed away last week, and I think one of the things that he was really good at was letting the crowd take you out. You can lay out as a broadcaster and just let the sounds of the stadium kind of take you through. That's a lesson Tony's going to have to learn at some point. And I say that as a hack play-by-play man myself, right? I don't have a ton of experience, but you can let the crowd noise do a lot of work for you. So I hope Tony gets to that.
Well, and especially in those big moments.
Yeah.
The iconic plays, Play-by-play does his thing, says it quickly, then you just stop.
Yeah.
Let it breathe.
Just
Let
lay out.
everyone watch it, and then you could jump in.
Yeah.
I think that's just almost standard when it comes to it. So, yeah, Tony is just not... He doesn't say anything anymore, also.
Yep.
It's cliches.
Yeah.
It's just
I don't know,
empty
Jim.
words. Yeah.
Here we go, Jim.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm excited about to see what Tom Brady could do.
And he's replacing Greg Olson, who was awesome.
Who was brilliant.
Yeah.
Olson was really good.
So I'm still a little skeptical of this.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see week 1 with Tom in the booth and watch that game and go, okay, he's actually committed to doing this. Because also partly if you're Tom Brady, why are you doing this? You could literally do anything in your life. You've just spent how many years just focused only on football? Are you not ready to just go hang out in the Bahamas for 6 months? And
Some
then go
guys don't
here?
like that.
Yeah.
I know, and that
They get a
but
taste and they're like, I miss the routine and the regimen. I just don't want to get beat up every Sunday. Now I want to go sit in the booth and still make.
I feel like he does want to get beat up every Sunday.
So too.
Well,
I feel like there's a large part of him that still does want to. What, it came out last week or 2 weeks ago that he said he might consider
oh
coming
my
back.
God,
You know,
yeah, it's enough already.
His schedule though could allow him to be on a beach until Saturday night though.
Yeah.
Right? Like he
yeah.
could live anywhere, fly in morning of, like
PJ in, yeah.
just take me to where I need to go, and it's Fox, right?
Yeah.
So he would be going to what, one of 5 stadiums?
pretty much.
So that's the NFC,
The
right?
NFC East gets a lot of those Fox
Yep.
games, and then they go a little bit from there. So
Yeah, but he'd be going to Dallas. He'd be going to New York, probably Green Bay, any of the
Philly.
AFC. Yeah, those ones.
Easy.
yeah,
I hope it works out. I
do
really
too.
do. The more
if
like,
him and Peyton are like
Yeah.
major broadcasters now for us in NFL after watching their entire careers, just how lucky are we?
yeah, it
That's
feels
cool.
and it's happening. Just players we all grew up watching are now like, how many former NHLers are coaches right now or GMs?
Yeah.
Like
well,
Drew Bannister made me feel 9,000 years old when he took over St. Louis.
right. Well, there's like Alex Burrows is on the bench now.
Is he?
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Where's he?
I remember. I think Montreal. Steve Ott
Yep.
has been coaching for a few years, and it's like, oh my god, like
Even like is Andrew Burnett's in Nashville?
yeah.
I know he's kind of been around poking.
Yeah.
Party St. Louis.
Yep.
Well, St. Louis, yeah, obviously.
And like, yeah, GMs. There's Steve Yzerman.
Yeah.
Bill Guerin's a GM.
yeah,
Rob Blake, Mike Greer,
yeah.
yep. Dougie
Joe
Waits.
Sakic.
Dougie Waits in management now.
Where's he?
Where's he?
San Jose with Mike Greer.
Really?
Okay, that makes
He's
sense.
like an advisor.
That's got to be a sweet gig. Eh?
Oh yeah, he's not doing
right now.
anything.
Who else? Like, yeah, it's
Yeah, it makes you feel old when you sit
Well,
back.
Boyd
like,
Gordon's a scout.
oh, geez.
Boyd Gordon's a Western scout for Detroit. He's in the press box all the time. I remember Boyd was on the team.
like
Yeah.
within recent memory,
Yeah,
right?
and I'm like, Boyd, what's going on?
why am I forgetting his name? Defenseman from Edmonton went to Matt Green.
Matt Green. Yeah,
He's been part of the Kings front office
I know
for a long time
He
now.
used to be in
Like,
the press box.
yeah.
Oh, you want to talk about the Kings? Derek Johnson, Jim Johnson's son, who's like my age. I remember he was just getting in. I think he just finished college hockey, and he was just getting into the coaching side of things on the video side. Worked for Bakersfield, and then Jim Johnson was let go during the Todd McClellan years. And then Derek became the Condors video coach, and then got to LA as a video coach. Now he's an assistant coach with them, and I'm seeing him. I'm like, you're an assistant now. What the hell's going on?
Zach Stortini's a coach in the American Hockey
Yeah,
League.
he almost
Holy
got in a
cow.
fight
Yeah.
with Colin Chop.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Craig Conroy in Calgary.
Right.
Like
Wow.
it's
It's unbelievable.
we're at that age of our
Yeah.
lives
Yeah.
now where it's like we're
Oh,
we're
no.
becoming the old ones,
Yeah.
seeing all of
Oh,
our
no.
heroes as we grew up
Yeah.
now doing the second part of it.
Has it always been like this, or is it just more coverage of it now?
Of these players?
Yeah, like it seems like right now there's a lot. And I just wonder if it was like that in the 80s. We need Lowtide here to answer those questions. He'd be the perfect
Yeah,
person
where's
for that.
Yeah, I would think it was
Alan.
though, because where did all these guys come from? Like Craig McTavish and Kevin Lowe went into the coaching
right away.
and then
Yeah,
into
Mac
the-
T became an assistant right after he finished playing.
And Kevin Lowe was the head coach, and then he went to GM, and Craig McTavish
Yeah.
went to become
Yeah.
head coach. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Same thing.
I
the
think
same
it's
thing.
always kind of
Yeah.
been there, but it's
Just
now
we're getting
for
old
us.
balls.
It's our players
Yeah.
that we grew up watching.
Yeah.
It's even in CFL and stuff to a degree. Like
Yeah.
Ryan Dinwiddie. I remember that's a Grey Cup
Yeah.
game that he had to go into. Jason Tucker's been a receivers coach for a number of years. Anthony Calvillo.
Yeah.
Jason Moss. Like even right there, just there's a guy I grew up watching cheering for, booed.
Yeah.
And now he's a Grey Cup winning coach in Montreal. And his fourth stint of a team as an OC/head coach. Like, that's where we're at.
Yeah, and even a guy closer to here, G. Roy Simon. He was on the morning show, I think, earlier this week here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's wild. Father Time is undefeated.
I know.
It does not slow down.
We're just old.
Yeah, it's getting there, man.
Zacticum's still good. And Trevor's still good. They still got the glory years
Fresh
for them.
babies.
I've reached the age where, like, I need to work out just to not feel crappy.
I know this
I
feeling.
just need to, like, I have to work really hard to maintain a low baseline now.
Yeah.
And it happens fast.
Aim low and achieve, Mark.
Yeah, that's-
Aim low and achieve.
Portions of this hour of the EST Hangout brought to you by the Hive Product Marketing, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Stock, promotional products that bring the buzz. Be sure to check them out, thehiveproductmarketing.com. They've done some great merch for us, and they're working on some great things for us when it comes to the golf tournament that we will be having. Just looking quickly here in the nasty chat if there's anything jumping in. We will get to the Oilers, don't worry. Like, that is coming. We've got 2 hours
Are we
here.
getting a lot of those texts?
No, we just have one person saying, when does the Oilers talk start again?
Well,
and we'll get into that.
We had 3 hours of it. We're gonna have another couple hours,
and
of
then
it.
another week of it
And then
before
another
round
week.
2.
Yeah,
Do we
yeah,
have
we've got a lot of time.
Do we have a rough idea when round 2 is starting? Guess we need
Monday
to,
or Tuesday.
Monday or
I'm
Tuesday.
guessing.
So game 6 is Friday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, right?
Yeah, for Canucks, Preds. 7 is Sunday,
Yes.
So
if
it would
necessary.
Be, so it would be Tuesday.
So they would take at least a day off, right?
Yes.
They wouldn't start the next day.
if
No.
it's Vancouver, travel's a lot easier.
Could be
hey?
Wednesday.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Be a lot easier if it's Vancouver for a lot of people.
I think Vancouver would love that.
Sure.
It's considering this series that they've had having to go to Nashville. That's not easy for either of those two teams.
No, that's true.
Yeah. So Monday, Tuesday. I'll throw Wednesday. I could see the potential of Sunday if it goes
What's the
to
basketball
7,
schedule?
and
That's
then
the other
two.
thing we have to factor in. Because that has a huge. People keep forgetting it's TNT,
But they also
ESPN.
but they also dropped down to only 4 series too, right? So there's a lot more wiggle room in the
Yes.
second rounds.
But it's still
because like, what are we gonna have left? How many I don't think is there a West Coast team left after this series round potentially? If the Clippers get knocked off by the Mavs, Lakers are out,
Yeah, I don't think so.
Suns are out,
Golden State's out.
Golden State
Yeah,
didn't
I don't
make it.
think
No,
so.
that would be it. So
would be.
Nuggets would be the furthest west in a Mountain Time Zone.
Oh.
So it actually might really work out for the NHL in terms of the 8 o'clock starts.
Oh, we're at 8 o'clock.
Those 8 o'clock
I think
starts.
so.
Things are a little
It
clearer
ain't
for them.
changing.
You did mention Wednesday. Now that I kind of think about it, that does kind of make, I think, the most.
If it goes 7,
Yeah, I think so. And Wednesday night hockey, I think, is a thing, right? One of the branded
In the
ones.
regular season,
Yeah,
it
one
is,
of the
yeah.
ones. So I could see it Wednesday night puck drop at 8:20 for game 1.
yeah. Well, depending who it is.
that's
Well,
true,
actually, no,
actually.
but you're right. Because if it's Nashville, it's coming to Edmonton.
Yeah.
And if it's Vancouver, they're going to Vancouver. So
Yes.
yeah, it would be that way. And just a couple days off, and it depend on the other series. Bruins might end it tonight, so
Yeah.
they'd be. Panthers are waiting.
Yep.
Hurricanes, Rangers, we know we're meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we're waiting for what happens with the Stars, Golden Knights. That's tomorrow,
Hey,
game
what
6.
a series.
Yeah.
How about
But-
those Stars?
So I could, if Canucks, Preds go 7, I could see the East starting Monday.
Yep.
Yep.
Maybe
and then,
both series
and then kind of
even,
trickles over.
and then
yeah.
the West starting Tuesday,
Delayed,
and
yeah.
then the Oilers can maybe start on the Wednesday with an East game, and then plan it out that way.
They
If they're
could
trying
be.
to give the 2 days off.
Yeah, they do the Wednesday, then probably 2 days off to get the Hockey Night in Canada game on Saturday.
Yeah,
right.
that's true. That's one where they actually might appease.
Or then that's where they
Canadians.
rush it to the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and you don't give that day off until
Yeah, that could be.
later or something.
If it is Vancouver, I happen to be in Vancouver in 2 weeks, potentially for Game 5. So that could be in enemy territory. That'd be fun.
Good luck. You'll be fine.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I was telling Matt, I went to Arizona 2 weeks ago to watch the Yankees play.
Yep.
I'm always a little nervous walking into an opposing ballpark.
Not in that one.
Yeah, it was Yankee Stadium West.
Yes.
It was wonderful.
That
It was-
one is very accommodating
Yes.
for visiting team fans.
It was very nice. I've been
Yeah.
to Chicago and it was not that accommodating before. But yeah,
Yeah.
Arizona, it was.
Oh, Yankees fan. There's about 20,000 of you
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's funny, Match, because like 5-6 years ago, I was down there and the Yankees were in town. And I'm like, crap, it's going to be tough to get tickets. Nope. Very easy. Went back-to-back nights. It was very, very easy, minimal cost. Actually had club seats the one night.
wow.
Yeah, it was my uncle's first ever baseball game. So I'm like, okay, we're going to do something good. We're going to get you good seats for your first ever MLB game. $40 per ticket, club seats.
now you'll get a beer for $40 at one of those stadiums.
Oh
probably.
my God. Yeah, that's so true.
That's where they're actually smart to a degree with that, like especially baseball stadiums. You charge cheap for getting in.
Just get them in, yeah.
And then people are like, well, I'm going to have a beer at least.
Beer and
you're not going to complain as much because it costs you $20 to get in or $15 to get in. You're like, that wasn't that expensive. Whereas like for Oilers, I paid $80, $90 to get in tonight. Not playoffs, obviously. And then I got to pay how much for a beer on top of that?
Yeah.
Last night,
Just get them in.
up in the press box, the conversation that popped up was how many games do you think you could afford to go to at the prices? And I was like,
What do we saying the average price is?
it was like 200.
Okay.
Let's say you're getting a cheap seat, cheap quote unquote, like 250, right? Maybe more. Now it's gonna be more in the next round. Okay, so you get two. It's $500. You're having drinks. You're having food. You're looking at an $800 night.
Yeah.
Okay.
It adds up really quickly.
Oh,
like
my
it
goodness.
And getting there, whether you're taking a ride share, whether you're parking, right?
Yeah.
That adds up.
You have a few. You go out after. You can't just go in without having one beforehand, right? Like, I'm thinking like $700 minimum.
Starting to think that the Oilers can make some money.
Oh, they are making some money.
Starting to think they might turn the corner here.
I would say
Good for
one
them.
round. I think I could afford.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think I could
Like,
do two.
without
I think I'd be
starting
able to
to
do one
accumulate
and
debt.
make it work.
yeah,
After that, it's like I'm really just like I'm not going to be able to do anything else.
Yeah.
yeah. Like,
No.
I want to enjoy the rest of my life.
And you mentioned the price is likely going up for round two. If it's
They are.
Vancouver, you're going to get a lot of people coming.
Right.
A lot of Canucks
Both ways.
fans. Yeah, both ways,
Yeah,
right?
both
You're
ways,
going to
yeah.
see
There'll be
a
good
lot of
resale.
people coming in. So,
A lot more demand for that.
do you think? I know we're jumping ahead here, but do you think the Oilers entertainment group? Do you think they prefer the Canucks or they prefer Nashville? From a money making point of view,
Probably Vancouver, I would assume.
I would say Vancouver because that's probably a longer series.
Yeah.
You can get an extra playoff date. That could go 6,
And
and
I-
you get that extra.
Oh, they think that way too. They're like, oh, maximize our dates.
And
and whereas the Preds, I could see that being like just based on the history of the Oilers owning the Preds, that could be a 5-game series potentially. And then, I guess that'd be the same amount of days then.
Hey, those little streamer things aren't cheap.
it would. So maybe they did meet in the '80s, but I don't believe the Oilers have ever played Vancouver in the playoffs.
They have.
They have.
Oh yeah.
Twice, I
So
think it is.
in the '80s, right?
Yeah, I think yes in the
Or early
80s.
90s.
Tucker
Early
McLean, I think
80s.
this week said it's only two or three times they've met.
Yeah, but they have
So it had
played
been
them
the
a couple
80s.
times.
So for someone that is our age,
Yeah.
who've never really quite seen that, I feel like the peak hatred for the Canucks in this region really came in 2011.
Yep.
And they haven't really had. There's been some games back and forth, but I feel like this is like pouring gas, and we're about to light the match on it. Like it's going to be.
Twitter's going to suck
Yeah,
between
it
the
is.
two fan bases on that one.
Absolutely, it's going to. But I think thinking about making cash, if you're OEG and whoever owns the Canucks, this series coming up is huge. And then you're also looking ahead to next season, right? They're going to play at least 4 more times next year. This could be the start of another rivalry in the way that the Oilers Flames was kind of brought up a couple years ago. This could be really good for business.
Yeah, I'd agree. And for the cities, like people from Vancouver, it's a lot easier to get here.
Yeah.
So they'll come here and vice versa. Edmonton, Tonians. It could be sometime with the dollar and stuff going to LA. It could be a little harder.
Yeah.
Just time to get there. 90-minute flight.
You can leave morning of the game and be
easy.
back. You be back at work the next morning
yep.
if you really wanted to.
Fly back. I'll be late in. I'll be in at
Yeah.
11 today.
I feel like a lot of businesses in this town, day after a game, really aren't getting going until 10 o'clock anyway.
No, that's very fair.
There's been some late arriving employees the last week or so.
And it's acceptable.
It is.
And
Everyone knows why.
It's the other game.
8:20 start, 8:50
Yeah.
start. Twice they've met, like you said, confirmed Matthew.
Thanks, Doug McLean.
86 and 92. Edmonton
92.
won both series, swept in 86, 3-0. That's when they did best of 5. And then 92, Edmonton won in 6.
Take that, Vancouver. Suck it.
There you go.
Should be interesting. If they wanted to troll Canucks, the Oilers should have Marc Messier come drop the puck. That would be quite the troll job. Because you know how much they love Marc Messier
Yes,
in Vancouver.
I just finished his book a couple weeks ago. 1 chapter on the Canucks. Very brief. And he just said it was not the right place to go. I couldn't stay in New York. And I made some mistakes in Vancouver. End.
Have you watched? We were talking about Prime. Have you watched the Joe Sakic, the Saving
No.
Sakic?
No, but I want to watch it. It looks good.
It's like 45 minutes. Like you're in
okay.
and
Is it
out.
quick?
Yeah, you're in and out. You're
Perfect.
quick. But it's that all kind of started because Marc Majeau went to Vancouver and the Rangers needed someone. So it's fascinating. There's a tie to Hollywood that I had no idea was a part of the story. But it's worth your 45 minutes. You don't have to hunt for very long.
I love Joe Sakic.
Yeah.
Him and Yzerman, two favorite players.
Yeah, very
just
good
straight
players.
up.
And they're both GMs now, as we were just talking earlier.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons I was happy the Avs actually won the cup the year they knocked off the Oilers. I'm happy. I wanted Joe to win another cup. He deserves it. And he just seems so quiet. And then speaking of people like Gager and stuff, also say just a great human too.
Yeah.
It's great dude just in general. And so it makes me happier that knowing that he's not a dick. And he got past the Patrick Waugh issue.
Yeah, I think we all
salvaged that.
Right.
I think we all knew Sakic was a good guy when he handed the cup straight to Ray Bourque.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite Stanley Cup memories ever. Was 2001, I think it was.
2001.
Yeah, didn't even raise it himself. Bettman they took the photo, handed it right over. So, anyways,
that's cool.
Saving Sakic certainly worth your 45 minutes.
Doug McLean with the info too. Yeah,
perfect.
He's listening.
Awesome.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks for tuning in.
What up, Doug?
Before we actually get fully into the Oilers and stuff like that, we got to talk Yankees. I got a Yankee fan here. I'm a Yankee fan.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
It's been a good season. This has been a good start to this season for this Yankee team.
It has.
I wasn't expecting this at all, especially when you're starting and it's Aaron Judge has a potential injury and Garrett Cole's out for who knows how long. I'm like, oh boy, and then boom, they got off on a hot start and they're still really good.
Yeah, Juan Soto has somehow been better than we thought he was going to be.
Yes.
It's weird to get excited watching a guy draw a walk, but the amount of times that he'll start 0-2 and then foul off a bunch of pitches and eventually walk, it's been so much fun to watch. Without Garrett Cole, guys like Rodon have been great.
Who didn't have a good year last year, injured, but just didn't produce.
Stroman, I was a little hesitant about bringing Marcus Stroman in, but he's embraced this team and they've embraced him. I've never seen a player wear thrifted throwback gear in the dugout. Have you seen Stroman with his shirts and his hats?
I haven't actually.
He's wearing 2000 World Series champion T-shirts in the dugout. He's embraced it. A guy like Alex Verdugo seems to be engaged playing with this team. It's been fun. You mentioned Judge. I have to think he's injured. I know I'm probably just making excuses for him at this point. But
no, but he had something with the abs in spring training, and then he just kept playing. But you don't do an MRI in that area for no reason.
Exactly.
There's clearly something that was there, and if you keep playing, you're not going to heal.
Exactly. So I hope he turns the corner eventually. Did you catch Aaron Boone getting thrown out for what the fans said?
That was amazing and terrible at the same time.
If Doug if Doug is still watching, that actually happened at a Canada West basketball game. The Golden Bears were playing Lethbridge, and a fan behind the Lethbridge bench led to a technical foul.
Wow.
And watching the Lethbridge coach at the time, he looked like he was going to murder someone in real time. Could you imagine having a fan cost you a game? And it didn't. Listen, it was still early on in the game,
but he got kicked out.
Yeah.
For doing that, for following the instructions. For those that missed it, the umpire told Aaron Boone was yelling at him, and the umpire said, "If you say another word, you're gone."
Yeah.
And Aaron Boone just shut up.
I think he gave him a thumbs up. I gotcha.
Got it. Yeah. I'm good. I'm sitting there. And then a fan in the
right
seats
behind Boone
started saying something, and the ump just immediately looks at Boone, and you're gone. And Boone's like, I didn't say anything.
He's like,
and then he loses it, and he's like, I didn't
The ump was like, I don't care. They had the whole thing on mic.
Because it was an afternoon game, so the mics were picking everything up very, very clearly. The officiating in MLB has been rather sus this season. There was another example earlier this year where Alex Cora of the Red Sox, he got thrown out. He was coming out to challenge something. And he essentially told the ump, give me a second. I don't want to get rung up for this.
Yeah.
And then the ump threw him out right away.
Wow.
And Alex I said, I didn't want to get rung up for this. What are you doing? I said, I did not want to get. And the ump said, I thought you said you wanted to get rung up for this.
Oh, my God.
So it's been, I don't know if I want robo-umps just yet.
Yeah.
But this year in baseball has not been great.
Well, we could talk about hockey, and sometimes the refs slowly building the egos and the attitudes and getting involved. They'll never have anything on it. MLB umpires.
Angel Hernandez is openly mocked by everybody across the board, and because of
he's had some
the
terrible
union
stuff.
He's stuck there, and he's like one of the most senior. He's the worst ump.
I think it was a Yankee game where the Yankees benefited from the call, but this strike call that he had which was well outside this complete ball, and you're just like, yeah, cool as a Yankee. Thank you. But that is horrendous.
He's awful.
I try not to get too worked up over officiating because I do believe over the course of a season, your team will balance out,
Sure.
right? Like you'll be the beneficiary and you'll get hosed on some. But baseball this year, man, it has been a nightmare for every single team in baseball. I think has been hosed on at least a couple calls this year. It's been brutal. So yeah, I don't think I want robo umps. I don't know if that's even where we're going
but
to
I think
trend.
robo
AAA, I
umps
think.
that will happen, but you still need umps.
yeah.
Yeah, you still need people
Because
on the
they're
field,
just
man.
not calling balls and strikes
Right.
anymore. You're calling the play at the plate. You're making sure that now with the pitch clock that's happening.
Yeah.
You're seeing check swings, all that. So you still need the umps on the field.
It's a hybrid
But you
system
take
they're
part of
using
it
in
away.
AAA.
Yeah?
Have you seen it? Like, if you want to challenge a pitch in the strike zone, I think you tap your hat or something, and right away they have it. So it's either a ball or a strike. And there was a pitcher in AAA ball that I think he had like 2 or 3 strikeouts in a row where he tapped his hat like right away because he caught the up high corners, and it was called ball, and then right away, and then boom, like into the ump's ear. He looks back at the booth, and they're like, ball or strike, done.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
It was very efficient.
I just give it to me then. Just give me the full robo at that point.
But
If
they're
gonna-
still leaving it in the ump's hands.
I know,
to
but
start.
if it's one of those for Spolstra,
like a hybrid.
if I could fix it that quick and we can get it to make sure it's accurate, just give me the accuracy the entire time.
You'd think.
I don't know
but
for that
Yeah,
one.
I understand.
I feel like why do I have to quite like now? I could get screwed on a call because the ump missed it, but I didn't tap my head to get the call, as opposed to it's the technology's there. I just didn't tap my head and I could have correctly called it. I don't know if I'd want the hybrid for that one.
there is
personally.
there is something
I was
about
impressed by it.
there is something about having the technology and not using it that seems
Yes.
a little odd. Like in certain divisions of soccer, they don't use VAR.
Yes.
Which again, if you have the technology, don't you want to get things right?
Well, there was an issue. Was this La Liga or what? Is it Spain or there's another one? I think it was Spain. They don't have goal line technology. They're not using it. And there was an issue about a ball, whether it crossed the line or not. And it was like, yeah, you got VAR, but we don't have goal line technology to confirm whether this crossed or not. And
Whoopsies.
but it's there. Like it's funny. Each league's different of what VAR. Do they use VAR? Do they use goal line technology? How far do they go with VAR? And it's not consistent across the board. And yeah,
You'd think
if you have it, you just use it.
You'd think.
Right.
You'd think.
You would think, in theory.
VAR sucks. It's great at times, but it absolutely they butcher that so much. That's it for the Yankee talk. They're having a great season, and Mark and I are very happy.
Yes.
That's what matters.
Thanks for putting up. Do you want to talk about Oilers now to win everyone back?
This is the EST Angle presented by Two Hoots Hard Ice. Team Iwanyk, Marc Majeau, Tom Gazzola with you here at Edmonton Sports Talk on iHeart, TuneIn, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, as well as on YouTube. Let's get to the Hangout headlines, which is brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club, offering premier conditions, top-notch service, unmatched value. If you're looking to book your tee time today, check them out. TheRanchGolf.com. They're the place that you want to be in with the weather all gone, or the snow all gone. You can get back on the course today and swing it up at the ranch, which is in beautiful conditions. And the whole 15, like now, is like completely done, completely renovated.
Have you had a chance to play yet this year?
No, I'm still rehabbing. So I could, as of yesterday or 2 days, I could start doing half swing. So I could start going chip. I could go practice
There you go.
chipping,
Lovely.
which I really need to work on because I suck within 50 yards of a hole.
You had a chance to play yet?
Not. I
guess you're kinda busy
I
right
cleaned my
now.
clubs last week, and they've been sitting in my guest room. That's it.
That's fair.
No.
You guys are busy. It's
Well,
a busy
nuts.
stretch right now.
What do we got? Sunday, 20 degrees, Tommy.
Yeah, my one day off. I
What?
will be sitting at home.
Why not go golf? It's a day off. You can go
Because
golf and enjoy.
everybody's going to be golf.
That's-
Maybe I'll go to the range. That'll be my, like,
Treat yourself.
treat myself. I'll go to the range.
Go
hit
get
a
the 6
bucket.
o'clock tea time in the morning. No one will be golfing.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
Yeah, including me, no one will be golfing.
Best golf day.
Not a
It
chance
is the
in
best.
hell.
Oilers, they knock off the Kings. Did you guys learn anything this series?
I learned that the Oilers are a very good hockey team. They were, I know I'll be accused of being a homer, but they were my Stanley Cup pick before the playoffs started, simply because why not? They have all the tools there. We've had goalies like Jordan Binnington win the Stanley Cup in recent memory. We've had
Correct.
goalies like Aiden Hill. Why not? You're right.
Right.
You don't win until you win. And I know that's kind of a cop-out at times, but I think, well, they were an overtime period away from sweeping the Kings. I don't think LA really had a chance in this series. The Oilers were clearly the better team for 5 games. And I think this break is coming at a good time where they've had a couple, I'll call them easier games. And what I mean by that, just not simply 1-goal games, so you're grinding out face-offs with 30 seconds left to win.
Right.
But this break, no one's healthy at this point, right? If you're 80%, you're 100% right now. They're a really good team, and I think this break is coming at a perfect time for them. And I think regardless of who their opponent is, I'm still going to pick them to win because I think they're humming right now. We take for granted how good Connor McDavid is sometimes. Just look at the numbers he put up this past series.
Right.
We're all talking about Hyman, Draisaitl, even Kane to an extent, but McDavid just quietly puts up double-digit points. They're healthy. Yeah, they're just cruising right now.
Yeah. I learned that the maturity has started to take with this group, and it's about damn time.
Yeah.
And we saw that. They handled the Kings very efficiently. They didn't have an easy road against the Kings. But, I think that the maturation process has finally started to take, and we'll see how it goes in round number 2. But this is a good team. And I've also learned that finally people are catching on around here. Less pessimism.
Well, yesterday's game, though, I thought they'd come out better. I thought they would not
They
want to
were
go to
a
LA.
little bit
And I thought they'd come out and
slow,
absolutely
yeah.
control the game because we don't want to fly back to LA. I was talking with someone with the Oilers yesterday, and he's like, yeah, it's been great being in LA, but don't want to go back. Don't want to take that flight.
Yeah.
And I thought the team would come out and just start rolling. Like, we're going to just make sure we don't go to LA. And instead, LA had the early chance, and then the Oilers got their 2 goals to go up 4-2 going into the third. And then it was like, okay, now they're feeling it. Now they're going to end this off. It hasn't felt like playoffs in the city to me yet, though.
No.
I haven't felt that buzz that we have in years past. And I think it's just because people felt like, one, maybe it's it's the LA Kings again, who, by the way, I think the Oilers took out on 7. I think Steve Sandor had this
Yeah,
yesterday.
they're working
7,
backwards.
6, 5.
Yeah.
So they meet next year and it'll be a sweep. That's what's going to happen.
Yes.
But maybe a little bit of fatigue of the Kings, but also that it's expected the Oilers were going to win this series.
I think so, too,
Now, now the playoffs kinds of begins in this city.
Right.
They got through the team that they should have got past, whatever, push them aside. Now this city maybe could get going. To me, it just didn't feel it. Even at the game yesterday, it picked up.
It did. Yeah.
But at the start, that first period, it was quiet in that barn. It felt like a February game to me in there.
That wasn't that bad.
And at moments, it was quiet.
It was quiet, yeah.
But it's a playoff game. It shouldn't ever really be quiet. But there was points in that game where it just, I'm hearing the things happening on the ice all the way up in the press box.
Yeah.
And it, to me, just felt like a regular season game at points. I didn't feel that energy of the playoffs. The Oilers weren't exactly flying yet at that moment. And the fans really weren't fully there yet in that game. And maybe that just goes to, again, it's just... playoffs hasn't fully hit this city yet.
I think for as educated as a lot of hockey fans are in this town, there are still a lot of people that watch a live hockey game like they're watching a play. Like they just sit back and they're dissecting everything and they're engaged in everything, but it's just, I feel like they're give me a reason to cheer. I'm not just going to push that along. And again, I know there are so many passionate fans that were in the building last night, but yeah, it's, I think kind of what you just said, prove it. You're supposed to win, do it, and then we'll show up.
Well, because even the puck drop happens, it's a go Oiler chant, which is great. It lasted 30 seconds. It died out in 30 seconds.
How long is it supposed to go, though?
Minutes.
Oh.
To start a game, a playoff game, that you could have that going for 2-3 minutes to get that crowd going. They started off great. There was 2 "Let's go Oiler" or "Go Oiler" chants, whatever it was, and then you could already start hearing that it was dying out. 30 seconds into an elimination game, and you just go silent 30 seconds in. This comes to the Hangout yesterday. We had Belzy on. Anyone as a player, you want that energy, you want that noise. That's it. You do feed off of it, so it does help the team to do that. And 30 seconds in, you're already just dead quiet.
I hate to be old man screams at cloud, but there were games at the old barn where they'd have "Let's go Oilers" chants going 20 minutes before the team even hit the ice.
They would go do, if I'm not mistaken, I never got to the games, but they did it through the whole TV timeouts.
Yeah, it's been yesterday was the anniversary of Game 6 against Detroit.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, what a great game.
2006, one of the best games I've ever been to. That's the benchmark when I think about what a crowd should be. And listen, I know times have changed and all that, but yeah, throughout entire TV timeouts during warm-up, during the pregame, fans were going berserk. And that wasn't the case last night, but listen, if it's if it's Vancouver and it's game 3 and that series is tied, I think that building is going to be nuclear for game 3.
And
Yeah,
look, when Rittich let in that first goal, which was terrible,
goal.
I honestly don't know what he was doing there. The fans started chanting Rittich.
Yeah.
Which is like
Yeah,
Belzy
that
was
was
mentioning.
good.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
When that mistake happens, you give it to them. So they were there for those moments when the goal with the save, but in the net happened.
Yeah.
Crowd erupted right away, and like they had their moments. They were great, but it's
I
just
thought
there was times early in the, like I'd say the first half of the game, elimination game. It's a playoff game, and it just felt like a regular season game.
I think it was more so that expectation of they should get to the second round. You know, kind of like, all right, we've seen the first round. We know what should be happening. Get it done. All right. I think as it moves on and progresses, they're going to get more amped up. For sure.
I think so. Yeah.
We'll see more of those chants. It'll be a 45 to 1 minute. Let's go Oilers chant off the hop instead of 30 seconds. It'll slowly progress, I think.
Or this is the slow transition of Edmonton becoming Toronto.
Yeah.
Ew, gross.
But it's the pricing of the tickets, and that's what it is. Like and I'm not trying to knock the fans that go to it, but there's a lot more of the business crowd, or there's a lot more people that are just reserved, and the people that would go in and just absolutely lose their mind for 60 minutes of hockey can't get in the rink anymore because they can't pay for it. And that's what we're seeing in Toronto. You watch Winnipeg games, look at how great that was.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Like, why can't that be in Edmonton now? Again, this might be a fatigue of the first round. We'll see if that goes there. Or is Edmonton more the Toronto crowd, which is the second period has started and the whole lower bowl's empty because they're still finishing up their conversations in the lounges underneath because it's this business, higher class crowd. And it feels like the Oilers are slowly, as their ticket prices keep going up and up and up, they're inching towards being that and not the great crowd that we remember of 06.
I'm not buying that.
I don't think the game, and I might be wrong, I don't think the game was sold out last night. You can go to Ticketmaster. I checked about like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And listen, it's not like
bought out the tickets in the end. It would have been
Well,
officially
they do.
sell out.
They
The
can
Oilers
do
would
it.
have bought out the remaining tickets.
It's not like there's empty rows and stuff.
It'd be like 150 tickets or something.
Yeah,
They'd
that's
buy
it.
them.
And they're all sporadic, right? Some are in the lounge,
Right,
some are
right,
lower
right.
bowl, some are all that. But that is a good point. I do think some folks have been priced out. And Matt, you talk about the fan that would go kind of nuts during a game. They're at these watch parties, right? They're watching with you at Hudson's. They're outside at the Moss Pit. Like, that's kind of where the rambunctious fan kind of goes right now, whereas in years past, they've been in the building. It's funny how quickly this fan base may be gone from starved to almost... Yeah, I think you used the word pessimistic. Imagine 10 years ago us talking about a playoff game, Oiler fans being like, yeah, you're supposed to win round one, right? At the end of the decade of darkness.
Satisfied.
Yeah. Like just expecting to win. So it moves very, very fast.
Yeah, it does change. Absolutely.
Couple of comments, 780-218-9999. Brandon saying next round, the fans will be back in it, already looking ahead. One-Eyed Pete, I was there last night. I'm assuming I feel these late starts are killing us a bit too.
Yep.
Big Uke, the crowd will not be as electric. The electric fans are being priced out. It's a problem. It's only going to get worse as they go further and tickets go up. Whilst Mitch in the park, honestly, fellas, with the cost of tickets these days, unaffordable for me and my family, which breaks my heart. If I'm going to a playoff game, I'm focusing on the game. If a chance starts, I'll join in, but I'm not going to focus on it more than 30 seconds. It's too valuable to miss anything on the ice, Mitch in the park. And if you went off at Rogers, you'd likely get kicked out by security, which I know has been an issue at regular season games in the past. But me and Belzy and I think Zachtkin was in at the time yesterday talked about that, and because we had one texter who wanted to stay anonymous say like the same type of thing. The way they worded it was that they're like a nerdy guy and they're not that type of person to cheer. But as like Belzy points out, the players would love that cheering. They would love that atmosphere. It helps them.
Yeah.
And that's my perspective is, as a fan, if you pay for a ticket to the game, you want to watch it, but you have a responsibility to help your team. And if you poll every single Oiler right now, if Tommy goes in the locker room whenever they practice next, and you asked every single Oiler, what do you want from the crowd tonight? They'd all say, we want them to be noisy and loud the entire game. Yeah. They wouldn't sit there and say, you want to know some, whatever. Do what you want. They wouldn't sit there, if you had the honest truth, they wouldn't sit there and say, yeah, no, just watch us. They'd say, we want you to bring the noise because we
Make it
feed off of it. And Belzy
visitors.
talked about some of his experiences of how the crowd would get going. And it's like, it's impossible to not be ready to play once that's going.
Belzy almost got thrown out of an Oilers game.
What?
Yeah. He was like sitting front row. Someone he played with or...
Like as a fan?
Yeah.
How long ago was this?
Not long ago. He told this story. He was sitting first row, and security came and talked to him. And I'm like, did they know you played for the team, albeit briefly? And he goes, no, they didn't care. And they threatened to kick us out. I was like, wow, because I think they were banging you on the glass or something.
Okay, that's
like that.
a no-no.
Yeah,
That one we all know is no one likes the bang on the glass person.
yeah, I hate the bang on the glass.
But he's got to. I think if you're you drop the. I played for the Oilers.
Here's my alumni card. I'm gonna go up to the
Here's
lounge.
check my Wikipedia page, hockey DB page.
yeah.
I'm an Oiler.
It's a douche move, but it's true. You could do that.
Instead of getting kicked out, I think you pull that card.
Yeah.
Know who Sean Bell is?
He's a first rounder to St. Louis.
Yeah, that
2003.
the security guard or usher or whatever should have known that.
Yeah.
It's Sean Bell. They should have had like a note early on
Hello,
saying,
hockey.
"Hey,
Saturdays 10
well,
noon.
Sean Bell's in your section tonight. You treat him well. You let Sean do what Sean wants to do."
Freezer bag. Are you lying about this? I hope not. Says I saw a guy spill his drink and spit on a lady last night. We're not pricing out the trash yet. That is freezer bag. Are you hyperbolizing?
It's not what you want.
No, that's
Not what you want
good.
at all.
Lars, why? So if Nashville wins, what time what time are game times?
They're probably still 8 o'clock.
Nashville's an hour ahead, right?
Yeah,
They're
so
central.
there won't be when they go to Nashville. They'll be earlier. That's the benefit that will come out of this. Is that there won't be the road games for the Oilers. Won't be 8 o'clock starts here because that's 9 Central. Those games, like tomorrow's game, actually, I think it's a 5:30 Edmonton start.
It's an early start
Yeah.
tomorrow. Yeah.
So I would assume road games would be anywhere between 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Home games would be 8 o'clock.
No, I think that adds up. I could see. Yeah, that would be 8 o'clock local for Nashville if it's 7. Yeah.
I don't think they'd make it much later than that one. And then for the Oilers, they would make it the 8 o'clocks because they'd need that late game for trying to do double headers and stuff.
Well, we're chatting NBA West Coast teams. The Oilers would be the last West Coast team in the NHL playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I see you watching
them
some
in
Yag
Colorado.
Wave videos.
Yeah,
so-
Rip City Steps. Like Tommy, just go to Yag Wave. There's a bunch of fights. It's all the same dude bro hoodie with Oilers jersey.
When did that become
20 to 25.
Fight Club? Is this where people are squashing their beefs now? Like,
I'll
meet
say
me
this.
at the Moss Pit.
Evidently, this is awful.
Okay, there's two
And
things I'll say. One, this has probably always been happening when these were happening, but there was no Yag Wave to promote it. And also, the Oilers were in the
which
playoffs
sucks.
for 10 years, so we never saw what could happen. Also, when it gets promoted, you're kind of encouraging, like, people, I could go do this here now. Like, when you promote that this is what's happening there, it's like, oh, I'll do that or something. I don't know.
So
It's so disappointing.
It is. And I've spoken with someone who works down at the building, talking about some of the stuff they've had to confiscate from people getting into the watch
Like
parties.
knives and
Yeah, it's bananas.
grenades. I'm kidding. Like
is.
Brick Tamlin.
Yeah, Jasmine also, guys, what's with those awful Moss Pit fight videos? These little kids are not real fans. They're blackout drunk and fighting.
Yeah.
Also, sick Nick's hat. Thoughts on them going far? Haha. We'll do that right away. But when it comes to but that's what everyone does when they're a kid. Like any 20, 18, 19, 20-year-old is going anywhere that they can. That's the scene to get drink. They're not there for the Oilers. They're there for the party. They're there for the drinking. And we know that young people, we've all were there, can't hold their liquor.
No.
And it then goes out of control. So like if there was a Moss Pit in the 80s, I'm sure some of this stuff would have still happened.
Of course, but
It's being publicized, and I'm not saying it's right, but I don't think this is something that's just completely new, and this generation is just so awful. Good job,
it's
Zach, to
just-
come. You and your people are awful. Like, I'm not going there.
the dum-dums all the time, but
I'm not like jumping on the people that are there too, but what is security? Are they equipped to handle with a Royal Rumble breaking out every 20 minutes? Like,
hope
what
so.
can they possibly do? It seems like they don't have the tools and resources.
Well, you bring more people, I guess. You have more. Well, you bring police officers, and there are more of them, and you have the paddy wagon sitting out there. That the moment those fights happen, you
there
throw
was
them
a
in there.
paddy wagon right
You have
outside
even-
our building.
But you have even more.
waiting for that at the
Just
hospital.
boom, boom,
all
boom.
day.
Just throw them in.
You just keep
Toss
throwing them in.
yeah.
That's tough. It's a tough
Or then
spot.
it gets to a point where then this is a fully ticketed event.
and you
And
can
you start
actually
losing
track
stuff.
and you can
start-
track who's
yeah,
getting
all
in and
of
out.
those type of things. Or if that's free, then it's okay. Then you start charging people, and then once you start charging people, well, I paid money to get here. Am I really going to go that far with it? And then
Yeah.
it loses
Consequences.
what it could have how cool it could be just organically without the fighting.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Freezer Bag says dead serious about the spilled drink and spit. That sucks.
Jeez. Imagine getting so hammered you're spilling a drink and spitting on someone on a Wednesday night.
When
I just can't
everybody's going
imagine
there to have a
drinking and
good
spitting
time,
or
cheer
spitting
for
on
the
anyone
same
at all.
team.
I think what
hate
we've
that.
learned from a couple years ago is the spitting is like really that takes it a really step far.
It's gross.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. Ugh. I don't want to get spit on.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah. That's bad.
Knicks are a good basketball team.
They are.
Hey,
Isn't that
Look
weird?
at that
Slide
transition.
right in.
Isn't that
Beautiful.
something?
There you go.
They're playing very well. Game 6 tonight, talking about a whack, starts at 7 o'clock, so 9 o'clock out east. The game starts tonight, which is interesting.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's a 7 o'clock start because Pacers Milwaukee starts at 4:30 local time in Edmonton. The Knicks are good. I haven't hated a team like the Sixers in a long time. Joel Embiid is a thorn in my side right now. It is incredible what he's doing on one leg and with the other health issues he's having right now. But holy smokes, Joel Embiid, after every single play, is yapping at officials. And that's something star players do, right? In every single league.
And he's always done that.
Always. But
When the Raptors were taking on the 76ers, he kept yapping at it, and then Nick Nurse have to yap to the reps and stuff. And now they're the same team.
Yeah, it's been interesting watching him still try to battle through it playing on one leg, but the Knicks are good. Their coach Tom Thibodeau is doing same old thing. He runs with 8 players. Guys are playing 48 minutes. Jalen Brunson's been, I don't think he's a super duper star yet, but he is a superstar the way he's playing right now. And yeah, the Garden, by all reports, seems like feels like 1994 for New York fans, right? The Rangers are flying right now. The Knicks are playing really well. I hope they take care of business tonight because I don't want to go to game 7. Simply because the Knicks haven't won any of these games easy. They've all been knocked down, drag out. Not fortunate to win, but nothing has come easy. So I'd like them to get a few days off just to rest and get healthy. It'd be ideal, but I think they take care of business tonight.
Yeah, this is a tough series, I would think. Because Pacers should knock off the Bucks with a 3-2 series.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dame's status for tonight or Giannis's and stuff, but they haven't been playing. And they should be able to take care of business, but I don't think they should scare the Knicks. Although they beat the Knicks in the in-season tournament.
I believe they did, yeah.
And but then the Knicks beat them on Christmas Day, I think.
The
Was it
Pacers
Howard
are
or was it the Bucks?
The Pacers are good. Like they have Halliburton's awesome.
Yep.
He's a superstar. The path to the Eastern Conference Finals for the Knicks fans, we thought it was going to go through Milwaukee, but catching a bit of a break, you don't want to jump too far ahead, but Boston's likely waiting for you in the conference final. And yeah, the path is there. It's been great to have kind of 2 teams going deep into the spring and having basically a game to watch every single night. It's been so much fun. But Jalen Brunson has been unbelievable. He has been one of the best free agent signings probably in New York sports history. And really, if we were going to talk about who has been the best free agent signing really in sports, I think Brunson has to be in that conversation as well for what he's brought to that team. Doesn't matter if you don't win, but he certainly has to be in that conversation.
Josh Clausen earlier this week. Knicks in 7 over Celtics. We just need to have a healthy Mitch. Bench of Knicks is way deeper. Underestimate the Knicks at your own peril. This team is special.
I love it.
I love it. With that? Could they knock off the Celtics?
I do think they could.
Yeah,
they've played Boston really closely, and the health of Robinson is going to be key after Joel Embiid put him in a Kurt ankle lock during earlier this season. He's got to be healthy. Robinson and Hartenstein have done a good job taking care of a one-legged Joel Embiid, but how good has OG Anunoby been since joining the Knicks?
This was a great trade for them.
It worked out kind of for both teams.
I'm just sad that the Knicks are going on a run and there's not a Canadian on it. That's the only thing that hurt me is that I knew the Knicks could do something. And it's nice to have RJ Barrett because on the other side you might have SGA and Murray meet in a conference finals.
That would have been.
And it would have been cool to also then say on the other side we have RJ Barrett in a conference finals. But
it's been cool to watch too some of the classic Knicks alumni be not welcomed back in, but no one really likes James Dolan, the owner, but it's nice to see Patrick Ewing's been in a lot of games. John Starks has been the number 1 cheerleader. He's been at, I think, every game this series traveling. He's been courtside. Carmelo Anthony's been at a bunch of games. Spreewell's been at some. So it's been cool to watch the alumni kind of embrace this team because this team does feel a little bit like the team in 1994. You have one superstar and just a lunch pail hardworking crew. It gets thrown around a lot in New York, like they love hardworking teams. No, they like teams that win. I think that's common in every single city, right? If a team is good, the fans will come out. If Utah, the NHL, has a great start to that season, guarantee that building's going to be rocking for the first little stretch. So NBA playoffs have been fun. No real surprises, I'd say, so far. It's been kind of chalk.
I was surprised at how quickly the Timberwolves dealt with the Suns. Yeah. How quickly they put away. I'm actually surprised at how close the Lakers kind of made the series and how much they led in that series and couldn't win more games than I guess with that. But I'm not surprised the Nuggets pushed them aside. OKC Pelicans, there was no surprise. I thought the Mavs could take down the Clippers.
Yeah, I think so too.
And so, and no, with Kawhi going back and forth, nothing. Yeah. Boston taking down the Heat, easy. Yeah. Pacers, Bucks but injuries have messed that series up. We talked Knicks, 76ers. Which one are we missing there?
Boston, Orlando, Cleveland. I haven't watched a ton of that's been kind of the odd series
on the side, but I don't even know what is that. Last I saw it was Cleveland.
That's been like, there's usually one series in the first round that kind of gets the short end of the stick. I feel like in the NHL, it's been Dallas versus Vegas.
Oh, I was going to say Carolina.
Oh, New York, yeah.
That's a solid one.
I feel like Vegas and Dallas never starts on time on cable. You always have to log into Sportsnet Plus or something.
Yeah.
I know there's Golden Knights and Stars fans that have found a way to watch it. It just seems like that's been the one that's that gets like Sportsnet 360.
Fallen by the I've gone out of my way to make sure I watch it though. But that's me because I'm very intrigued by that series.
3-2 Cleveland. Yeah, it is, and that's tomorrow, Game 6. So is the chance for the Mavs to take out the Clippers. Yeah, I expected it. Yeah, I don't know. I think this NBA playoffs is going to get a lot better as it goes on. I was expecting maybe a little more close games maybe in this first round, but it is going as you would kind of expect it. There was a message from Rip City Step.
Steps all over it.
I love Rip City.
Majeau talking up Brunson in a Hyman free agent deal town is brave. Haha. So.
And I was going to say that as well, too. Talk about good free agent signings, right? How many players improve after they sign a free agent deal,
in their 30s?
Yeah.
Very rare.
I have one of Zach Hyman's children's books.
Oh, yeah?
That he wrote. It's the one about Babe Ruth. So I read it to my daughter. I think I get more out of it than my 6-month-old daughter does at this point. But yeah, Zach Hyman, he's a talented cat.
And got that goal yesterday, which hit Dusty's EST parlay.
Cha-ching.
It was. Because it was funny because I saw him tweet about it after, going like he's hoping this goal gets changed for degen reasons. Because he had McDavid 2 points, Bouchard a point, Hyman goal, and the Oilers win. Yeah. And it looked like it might have been a Nuge goal, but Hyman tipped that, and you're like, okay, well. Sure. And then they switched it, and it was like, cha-ching, there it is, plus 325 or whatever it was last night.
Well done.
Hits it.
Yeah, thank you, Zach Hyman, for that one.
No kidding. There's a text in regard to, we're talking about the Moss Pit. Do we want to go back to it really quickly?
Sure.
I love people fighting.
Okay. So I appreciate the honesty, Maj. This one says, before the Moss Pit, there were pubs and bars scattered across the city. Those places had capacity, security, and it's easier to control a smaller group of people. The Moss Pit does not cut people off. Pardon me. The security is not trained to handle the violence and the amount of people in attendance. I have noticed, like, walking through there, is they have, I don't know what they are, like information ambassadors, and they're like in teams of 2 or 3, and they have a little bullhorn and a little sign, like, if you need to get here, and they're scattered throughout, and they're just like looking to help you if you need to move through. But I have noticed some security, but I don't know. It's become a disaster. Again.
I feel like
it's better this year than last year.
Yes.
I will go there.
Last year was bad.
They've got better crowd control of how many people are getting into Moss Pit. So I will give them credit for that.
There's less people in there.
They're not letting it get to way too capacity.
Fan park is something.
That's turning into something too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was watching those fight videos, and 3 of the 4 were from the fan park.
So there's the Moss Pit and the fan park?
Yeah.
There's 2?
So there's the Ice District, the plaza is Moss Pit. And that's generally the younger crowd that you're going to get. And then Fan Park, where the back route is there, which was supposed to be a little bit more for the family and stuff. But then they've added the Molson House tent,
which was
so
smart,
it's kind of broken into 2, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, if you get thrown out of one, you go to the other. Like, don't you think?
Well, actually, I never thought of that. Yeah, if I'm getting thrown to the Moss Pit,
I'm going to the other one.
The other one's right there.
Oh,
they don't know I was thrown out of this one. I'm going over there. And then after I get thrown out of there, does the moss pit know I was thrown out of here? Can I get back in? I'll try to get back in.
Probably.
Or I can just go to one of the bars that's around that's likely showing it as well too.
I mean, when I got home last night, there were still people wandering around. Like I could just see aimlessly drunk, and I'm like, oh, okay, we had a night.
Yikes.
That's spring.
They have a week to recover, right?
Well, they certainly do.
This is actually probably very important for the Oilers' long run is for the city. Even just the people that aren't getting drunk at Moss Pit, just catching up on their sleep over the next 5-6 days.
Yeah.
Because when I went on to the conference finals a couple years ago against the Avs,
it started
7-game series against the Kings. It was a 5-game series against the Flames. But I think it wasn't I think it was a pretty quick turnaround to get the Avs going. I don't think there was a long break there. Then you got the Avs, and then it was over. It was kind of like, okay, the body needs this. This has been go, go, go for a period of time. I think now with this early break, little quick reset, and then the city could get ready for that late nights again, round 2. And then if they get to a conference finals, it's earlier starts.
Yeah.
And the city's then ready for the Stanley Cup. Like, they don't need that extra break. They're ready to go for the 3.
You think OEG's like, yes, extend it so we could get another pay period.
Probably.
People's paychecks on the 15th.
Probably.
Let's go.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I would love to know what their gate revenue is for a game day.
It's ridiculous.
Because
it is.
I think at Rexall it was like $1 million.
Oh, it's beyond.
I think it's
beyond
up
that
now. Like I think a regular season game's closer to 2.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the playoffs
probably like 3, 4, maybe
right.
even 5.
And you're not paying the players. Like that's
right,
the thing.
But you have to give a cut to the league.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well,
the league takes a cut.
For the most part, a lot of this, it's just, and this is why you always talk about wanting to make the playoffs. It's the free money for the team.
Oh yeah.
I remember hearing a quote from Brian Burke probably about 20 years ago. But when he was working still with Vancouver, he said, "I need to host 3 home playoff games to turn a profit." And that was 20 years ago. So who knows how much that has changed since?
Yeah.
But costs are up too.
And that's him talking BS too.
Yeah. Brian Burke loves a microphone in front of him. So who knows? Yeah.
Friend of Hello Hockey.
Yes, he is. He was back on Hello Hockey. He was great. We asked him if he needed a backscape, and he said it was none of our damn business.
That's a great Brian Burke response to that.
It was Belsey who asked. So they have a relationship. Burke owned the Tri-Cities Americans, where Belsey played, and that's where the relationship was born.
That.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Speaking of the Leafs, because Brian Burke connected the Leafs.
Hello.
Austin Matthews out for Game 6.
Again, wow.
The best player in the world?
That's correct.
According to Matt Cassian?
And I know some people are like, yeah, it can't be still food poisoning or something. I think going into the last game, Friedman on the broadcast immediately said there's something else. It wasn't just the illness. Now there's something else that is actually happening with Matthews. So it's not just he's sick and he can't get in there. He's dealing with something.
Interesting.
Which I'll be fascinated to hear what it is, because what we know of hockey is that you play through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So this has got to be pretty significant for him missing a second straight elimination game.
Like, Vander Kane is playing through athletic pubalgia.
Is that what the scientific term of it
For
is?
sports hernia.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Cass had it.
What happens?
I love how you say it.
Yeah.
It's the best.
So like
It's a funny term.
what happens to the Leafs? Because I feel
don't
like
know.
they have some very talented players. That William Nylander, Mitch Marner thing was quite interesting from
Yes.
Game 4. 4 players making over $9 million, I think, on that team,
Believe
maybe even
so,
more. It seems like there's a lot of pressure on Sheldon Keefe. It seems like there's a lot of pressure
done.
on Brendan Shanahan as well.
Yeah,
at the very top.
He could be on his way out, too.
Yeah, and
There's discussions of that.
And it felt like Shanahan kind of could do no wrong when he first got there.
Right.
But only one playoff win, or what round
Yeah.
win, I think,
Last year.
in his tenure there.
Last year.
Think about they're passionate here. Like, imagine, I'm sure there's a ton of calls right now on Toronto Sports Talk calling for Sheldon Keefe's jobs. Like, what happens if their season ends tonight?
Yeah.
So so Friedman, on one of his many things that he does, I think it might have been the podcast 32 Thoughts, said this: if they get knocked out, this will be the end of the 4 in Toronto. Somebody will be gone, which you then think it's Marner.
It looks like it's
You
Marner,
can't do
yeah.
Nylander because you just signed him. You're not getting rid of Matthews,
No.
and you can't get rid of Tavares.
Right.
So it naturally have to be Marner you're having to move, but he has a no move clause, so he'd have to want to also go. But who knows?
Well, he did throw his gloves the other night, so I think he'd do
It
well.
does seem like Sheldon Keefe might be gone, and I think other coaches are seeing this because apparently a lot of former ex-NHL coaches are doing a lot of radio in Toronto.
Wow. Jay Woodcroft made his first appearance.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, what was that on?
I believe it was with Kipper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think Craig Berube was on in the market.
Oh, he's circling.
There was someone else. And
I think Todd McClellan was too.
Was he?
I think I've heard he's linked to Ottawa too.
Yeah.
I've heard Jay Woodcroft too to Ottawa.
Yeah, but now they're just getting their names out there.
But they're
and
game,
it's
right?
getting busy.
Yeah, and so they're
There's a lot of
getting
guys
booked
out
a
there.
lot on radio and outlets in Toronto. So the other coaches are sensing the blood in the water for
Totally.
Sheldon Keefe and starting to circle to try to get their spot to take over Toronto.
Yep.
And then it's fascinating to see what would happen with Brendan Shanahan because so they've gone through coaches like we've seen here in Edmonton. They've done that. They've gone through GMs. They went from Brian Burke, brought in Lou. Did he go to Lou?
Then
or no,
Kyle
did it
Dubas.
Dave Nonis?
Yes. Dave Nonis.
Was it after Berkey?
I think it was
Yeah.
because
Yeah, briefly.
because Dubas and Lou were kind of the same.
Yeah,
the
and
same.
then Shanahan came in. He got in Lou, if I'm not mistaken, and then he went with Dubas.
Yep.
And then he went with Tree Living.
Yep.
And it was the reason Dubas goes, Tree Living in. They want to stick with the 4. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work. You're going to break up this 4. If you're MLSE, do you stick with the Shanna plan, as they called it, or whatever? Or when's the point of, okay, no, we need to go to the top because how are we going to work this out? The next 2 years, they're stuck with Tavares' contract.
Yeah.
That's when it opens up, and maybe they could try to redo things. They need goaltending.
Yeah.
They need to fix their defense
They
a
need a
little
lot
bit
of
more.
stuff.
But you're also you can't be bad. But you have to be competitive at some point again, quickly, because Matthews is 5 years. Clock's going to start ticking.
Yep.
Because Arizona's going to be back, and Matthews is going to want to go to Arizona.
Oh my God.
That's how I'm picturing this. In 5 years, like his contract will be up, and now we'll already have the new rink in Arizona, and
He's
boom,
back in Scottsdale.
Coyotes are back, and
Yeah.
that's their first big free agent signing. It's Austin Matthews.
flashing his bum to college girls at ASU.
I don't loathe the Leafs the way that a lot of people do. I feel like they have become the Boston Red Sox prior to 2004. They are just
Okay.
finding more and more comical ways to lose the further they get.
It's a great way to
Yeah,
describe
like
them.
honestly,
Yeah.
so 10 years ago when they blew the 4-1 lead, that was the Bucky Dent home run. I don't quite think they've got to the Bill Buckner ball through the legs just yet. Maybe that happens tonight. Right?
All right.
Maybe they're ahead and something comical happens.
No, because
What about the Mitch Marner puck over glass against, was that Boston a couple years ago? No, that's not as bad. And it wasn't.
Buckner, they were leading though, and they could have won that series.
Yeah.
Whereas
That was
the
the
Leafs,
World
at least, even
Series.
if tonight something happens, they were losing the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they still need their Buckner moment.
Yeah, so they're still behind. So that's why I don't hate them the way that some people do. I just feel like their fan base has gone through enough. They haven't won since expansion. It's been a long time since they've won a cup. But
You could argue they'd never really won them.
Yeah, true. And I don't know what they do. Like I do think
boy.
there's a universe in which Shanahan and Keefe are fired, and Tree Living is the last person standing.
Yeah.
he just got
Well, you're
there,
not
right?
getting rid of him.
Yeah,
He came in, he did what Shanahan wanted.
Yeah.
This wasn't my plan. This is what his plan was.
Right.
Here's what I plan to do and move forward. And I don't know, if you do change Shanahan, you bring someone else in, they might want to take a year to evaluate how things are. And you give Tree Living a year to figure this out. Let him hire a coach. Let him go through all of that.
Would you even move out Shanahan and just bump up Tree Living to president, and then he gets someone working on it? I feel like the president of hockey operations has been a position that's been created over the last 10 years, just to put one more person that
The GM's not in charge now, it's the president.
It's like a filter to the owner.
Yeah, basically. So
Basically.
I wonder if that's what they do. It's just I do feel bad for some of those passionate fans that are going through it right now.
Why I don't is I just know when the Leafs eventually win the Stanley Cup, it's going to be miserable. Watching the TV, watching the just how much TSN and Sportsnet shove that down our throat the entire summer.
How can they do that even more than they do already?
Because
They'll find a way.
we
that would be
will have
amazing.
live
In the worst
I
way.
guarantee live reports of that cup at various places.
Mark Masters in
We're-
Muskoka.
Today,
Yeah.
TSN 5 has, John Tavares with the day of the cup. Tomorrow we've got Mitch Marner with the cup, and they will be live. They will shove that down our throats so much, and then the start of next year will all be can they repeat, and it'll be this, and it's that stuff. It's the same reason.
Are
why
they a dynasty after one?
that's where I don't think I could handle it.
Yeah, that'd be
it's
tough.
the same as with the Connor McDavid draft lottery. I truly didn't care where he went except for one market, and that was Toronto, because we would have grown to hate Connor McDavid. We would become imagine if Connor McDavid was doing all this but with the Leafs, and how much they would act like TSN Sport would actually really promote this even more. We would hate Connor McDavid and be like, just get him off our TVs.
But he's so good.
But he's going to would be shoved down our throats so much we would absolutely hate him. And that's the fear. That's the only. I agree with almost everything you said.
No.
But then I go to, if they win, like, I'm off to South America for 5 months.
Comes back with a big beard.
I'm gonna go. Yeah. I'm going into the bushes for many months. Like, I'm off the grid. I can't. I don't want to do this at all.
Yeah, that'd be fair.
Text came in from Ontario Mom, says Woodcroft said he was specifically watching the Eastern Conference all year when he got fired, which means he's obviously aiming to go for a team there. I would call BS on Jay specifically watching the Eastern Conference. I think Jay would, he would probably prefer a certain job, but he watches everything and he lies and says he doesn't. That's his thing. I've known him for years. Jay watches and listens to everything. That's just Jay.
I feel like a lot of players consume a lot of stuff when they say they don't.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know they like to say we're siloed off, we're not, we don't watch, we don't read, but they still have that quote to throw back at the reporter when they say they don't watch and read things, right?
They watch it,
I do think they do more than they tend to lead on.
Jay's dialed in to everything, and he's watched the Oilers, and he's watched Calgary.
Jay seems very much like a football coach. Like, on that level of insanity where, like, they know everything.
Yeah.
They're focused on everything.
Yeah.
They're paying attention to everything. There's no stone left unturned at any moment. And I don't get that from always hockey coaches. Wouldn't call them crazy like I would call football coaches. But seeing Jay in this city for the number of years, even as an assistant, and, like, him being, like, he's the guy that's first in the office, basically.
Yeah.
And, he's on that level of crazy coach type thing that, no, he's going to know everything that's happening.
Yes.
And there's
not
no way
much,
he's
not
not.
much gets by him.
I can see him maybe not watching the Oilers a little bit.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
You still dialed in?
Still
Do you think
dialed
that's
in.
a hate watch or
Hate watch? Yep. Spite watch, hate watch, call it what you want.
I've heard lots of stories about former players that hate watch the Oilers as well, right? If they get traded or they move on, that's something they don't look back fondly on.
Yep.
I just want to ask you about coaches, though.
Yeah.
Like, we're chatting Ottawa. If you ran Ottawa, would you rather hire Jay Woodcroft or Todd McClellan? And maybe that's not exclusive to Ottawa. Two former Oiler coaches. Who would you rather hire?
I'd probably just go with Todd.
Just based on experience, do you think?
Yeah.
Matt?
Jay, like, he's a good coach.
Yep.
But he also had Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
So did Todd. But,
So I don't know. But but Todd, and like, well, he had Joe Thornton and he had all these other coaches.
True.
But Todd's history is he could take, at least like Edmonton, he elevated them, got them to that next level at one point. With the LA Kings, a couple of years ago when they first made the playoffs, no one was expecting anything from the Kings.
Right.
He could take that team that's not expected to do much and get you to that first level, which is get you into the playoffs. Is he going to win in the playoffs and take you far and win you cups? No. But he has proven time and time again that he's going to get you to the playoffs. He's going to have you compete, and you're going to show up, and then at some point you need to move on to the next coach. Whereas Jay, there's a little question mark to me because while he's the winningest coach in Edmonton Oilers history, I believe, unless Chris Knobloch now might have a higher winning record. I would think Chris Knobloch would have to have almost a higher winning
Chris is
percentage.
probably right up there.
With how that is. I'll use Connor and Leon against him and go, can he do it with? But I guess there's still Tim Stützle and there's some good players there. There's a lot. To me, there's a little more unknown with Jay Woodcroft as opposed to with Tom McClellan. And what do the Sens need? They need playoffs. They don't need Stanley Cup yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would go with Todd.
And there's going to be other jobs that pop up too. I wonder if there's ever, is Jay a lock to get a head coaching job?
I think he should be.
Probably.
Think so?
I
So I was wondering if there's a reunion of sorts between
if
those
Dallas
two as well.
Aikens
That's true.
can get hired as a head
jeez.
coach again, Jay Woodcroft more than certainly can get hired and get a second opportunity to prove any naysayers wrong.
I feel like Jay should almost have, as much as what I just said on him, should almost be in a position where he could almost dictate to a degree where he can go. To a degree.
But because of how crowded the free agent coach
That's
market
fair.
has become, it's putting him into a tough spot.
But Toronto, like, if I'm Toronto, I would take Jay Woodcroft. I would take that guy and see what he could do and take
Jay
that
Woodcroft,
group.
Craig Berube.
Because
Because this is where it's going now because of all
depends
the guys that are available.
Well, I wouldn't take Craig Berube because I don't know if that hard ass guy is going to work well with Austin Matthews and William Nylander and some of those younger guys.
But haven't.
Whereas I think Jay could connect a little more to the younger guys a little better.
With the hard ass, though, so we've seen it with the Leafs specifically. They had their hard ass with Babcock.
Yep.
Keefe seems to be more of a player's
Yep.
coach, right? But yeah, I feel like Leaf fans want Berube, though. I think they want someone to scream and.
What are you trying to accomplish if you're the Leafs?
Yeah.
The
You
next
wanna win a
2
Stanley
years?
Cup.
Are you still in a Stanley Cup window?
You better
Yeah.
damn be.
Well,
With these
or
guys,
you
you
taking
have-
a little step
You're not
back.
taking any steps
Well, if you're
back.
trading away one player-
retooling on the fly.
If you're trading one player, well, and that's where like,
you cannot
do you think
take
this?
any steps back if you're Toronto.
I know, but I don't know if they're.
Unacceptable.
I don't know if I'm gonna. I could sit there as if I'm Brad Treliving and be like, we could go in the Cup next year.
I think
it's a
they could
couple
put
years.
themselves back into the mix as a contender. They get a goalie and they find a better like a D-man.
Well,
They
it's
have
easier
very
said
good
than
forwards.
done.
They've got
and
very
it also
good
depends
forwards.
on what a Marner trade would look like.
Right.
But that's where like if this was 2 years ago, I would say Craig Berube. But I think that you're trying to almost run out the clock of the Tavares contract, get out of that.
They don't have
Then-
time to play
Why
with.
you still could be a good hockey
Now
team,
is
but
their time.
I have a feeling that their window's closed a little bit and they need to reopen it. And that's where Jay Woodcroft, I think, could come in to work with these players so that when it opens up again fully, he's ready to go. Whereas Berube, I think he comes in and you're not ready for him. You're not ready for him to take you to the Stanley Cup and go up against the likes of the Rangers and the Panthers and the Bruins and the Hurricanes. And even if...
Matty, he went into St. Louis mid-season.
I know.
And I don't know.
And in the last couple of years, hasn't really done anything, though, with them.
True, and plus they lost a lot of guys too from that Stanley Cup run. Like Pietrangelo walking right away. That's tough.
Yeah, it's just...
There's your captain.
If I'm Brad Treliving, it's like, if I'm not ready to, if I don't think we're right there on the Cup right away, do I bring in a coach that might piss off Matthews and them a little bit more that they don't like? And now I'm maybe pushing Matthews a little more out the door. Whereas I don't feel like I'm ready to win yet. AJ Woodcroft will work better with these guys. I could still win. I could still go have some success, but I might not be pissing Austin Matthews and these younger guys. This guy might connect with my players better, so I keep a better locker room and not having to make a coaching change 3 years from now.
It'll be interesting to see what the first domino is to fall. If it's Toronto, if it's Ottawa. Well, I guess Ottawa doesn't have a head coach
No.
right now, right? It's still
Well,
empty.
Jacques Martin.
They need
Throwback.
who needs? San Jose needs, which also maybe Jay Woodcroft.
Now, Kraken need one too.
Kraken. Columbus, because I think Pascal Vincent was interim.
So there's a few still
St.
spots.
Louis, Drew Bannister. Jim Hiller might be on the outs now.
Well, 'cause, yeah, he was just an
know,
interim.
Yep. Where else?
I would expect that team's now done with the 1-3-1.
They have to.
I
It
would,
got them as far like Todd McClellan didn't have as much talent as they did this year when he first took over and turned that team into a respectable team, but it could only go so far with that system.
Yeah.
And we just saw that for a third straight year.
Rip City step again. Brendan Moore to Toronto, Jay to Carolina in their analytics department. There was the report, I don't know if it's yesterday, did you guys see about Rob Brandamore?
No.
What?
His
Contract talks
right? Yeah.
like broke down all of a sudden, and now his future with the Hurricanes is in doubt. Where they were negotiating, it just wasn't working, and now they've stopped it or something. And
Tom Dundon, one of the weird ones among a lot of weird owners.
but it's like this is are we watching the Barry Trotz situation with Washington, where a guy goes wins a Stanley Cup and also in Islanders bench the next
Bye-bye.
year. Like
Get out of here.
it's really weird to see that, and for that to come out
Now.
as they're preparing for a second round series against the Rangers.
Tom Dundon.
Do you think now who leaked that?
Tom Dundon.
Rod Brendamore's camp or the Hurt? You think the Hurricanes
Rod
camp? heard of it?
Brindamore, I would assume, would not want anything like that
He
getting
wouldn't want a
out.
distraction going into round
He's
two.
not that guy from all accounts. Tom Dundon, weird owner, has never done things like by the owner's playbook. Always this off to the side weird guy trying to do things differently. It screams Tom Dundon.
Wow, I don't know. So having all that, I don't know if it was a money thing or a control thing. I didn't realize Tom Dundon was that much of a weirdo, for lack of better terms. But I could also see, like, Rod seems like an interesting cat as well. I don't think he is all, like...
Gager knows him.
Does he? Okay.
They went to Notre Dame together, I
Okay.
believe.
How am I trying to describe Rod Brindamore? I don't think he is, like, chatting up a staff member as he walks through the office. I could see him being focused solely on like working out and hockey.
It's hockey.
Yeah. No,
No,
who
no.
knows? It'll be really. The timing of that is very bizarre, though.
Well, I'll say this, at least in Tom Dundon's defense, then, if that's the case, if the Hurricanes get bounced by the Rangers, you've had a lot of chances these last few years. You've had really good teams, and you haven't gone to a cup final again.
6 straight years into the second round, though.
And they're, well,
5 straight years of 50 wins, right?
but at some point, why aren't you in the conference finals? Like, when do you take that next step?
Oh.
And is this a point where it's like, okay, well, maybe Craig Berube is the guy there. You're looking at a guy that's won a Stanley Cup and you're looking for a situation. There's the Hurricanes that are maybe sitting there going, we need to take that next step immediately. We have the talent. Rob Brendamore's not getting it done. Craig Berube is right there. We're going to bring him in.
Maybe. I just want to remind everyone that Tom Dundon ruined the Alliance of American
He did
Football.
not ruin it. He did not ruin it.
Ruined it.
It was not great to begin with. He bought it, realized that it doesn't make money, and just shut it down.
And he bought it for the
apps and all of that
app
stuff.
thing, yeah.
The tech.
Yeah.
He didn't ruin it.
Ruined a great league that was on the up and up in football.
Has anyone watched the UFL yet?
No.
No.
Okay. I haven't died.
I've seen the crowds. I saw some highlights, and I've seen a minimal turnout. That's not great.
Yeah, they get. I still go back. It's they're averaging, I would say, from what I see, anywhere between 6 and. I'm taking St. Louis out of this, 6 and 15,000
the
fans a game,
Battlehawks.
and then the Battlehawks are getting massive crowds, like 30,000.
Oh,
So
wow.
they're like the outlier. They have their football. I think TV numbers they're getting around 1 million or so.
Wow.
Which I look at and go that they're like 8 times the Canadian population. So like a CFL broadcast, which is like 3, 4, 5, 600,000 people, really equates to like millions of people in the U.S.
Yeah.
And yet we always look down on the CFL. I'm like, what a league, it's going to die. And then the UFL. And actually, they get praised for their numbers right now.
Being in my mid 30s, I have had people tell me the CFL has been dying for 30 years.
Yeah,
Right. They
same.
always tell me this is the year it's going to end. This is the year it's going to end, and it still keeps on ticking somehow.
We'll also
Tortoise
throw
in the
this
hair.
out there. Dave Naylor, I saw this yesterday, said they're down to 6 groups for the Elks ownership. And during the season now, likely
yeah.
a selection. It thought initially was going to be before training camp. If they're down to 6, that means they have 6 really good groups that they're looking at.
Yep.
And they have to now try to figure out how do they decide who's number 1 out of all of that. Whereas maybe they thought training camp before because they only thought maybe there'd be 1 or 2. They could whittle that down a lot quicker. But if
Right.
there's 6, they're going, oh, we've got some really good interest here. And how can we make this work?
Well, that's the thing,
good to
man.
hear.
With these franchises, right? They don't just grow on trees, right? If you want to own a pro sports team, there's few opportunities that come up to actually buy one of these. So if you're one of those groups, you got to obviously put your best offer forward and just pray it works out.
I would also guess that these are people that only want the Elks. Because like the CFL could probably sit there and be like, hey, we need a team in Quebec City or we need a team in Halifax. You want to own a CFL team? And I bet most of these are probably like, no, we just want this team.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Stephen Ross of the Dolphins? What happened to him?
No.
He was offered $10 billion for the Dolphins, the stadium, Hard Rock Stadium, and the Miami Grand Prix. Said no.
Wow.
Said no.
Because
I think he's worth 10 bill already.
Yeah. I
think
What's
that-
an extra 10 bill to you when you already have 10 bill?
well,
and you
because in
own
like
these
5
toys?
to 10 years, it's gonna be 20 bill.
Yeah.
Well,
Seriously.
I know. I don't know if 10 years is fully there for him completely.
How old is he?
I want to feel like he's in his 70s.
Well, he wants to hand off.
But like you
20
have
billion.
the money.
Yeah.
You don't, and you already have the toys, so you don't need anything extra.
And I think guys like that love being the number 1 cheerleader for their team, right? They
They're-
love being
they're
shown in the
playthings,
box.
yeah.
They
Well,
love-
exactly.
I'll even go. I don't even know if he cares. He's 83.
Oh,
He's 83 years
yeah.
old. Holy smokes.
It's also one that I don't even think some of those, like especially the newer owners. Ross isn't a newer owner. They don't care about their team. Josh Harris, who bought the Commanders, doesn't actually care about the Commanders. He didn't grow up a Commanders fan. I guarantee it. It's. I'm an NFL owner.
Yeah.
It's the status.
There's
Yes.
32 of these, and I have
it's
one
an-
of them.
And it's an exclusive club, and they said no to Jeff Bezos this past time. Like they could look at anyone and everyone and be like, "You want to be in this club?
yeah.
What about that?
Good luck."
Was it the Jet? No, it's a Panthers owner that's like a piece of crap
Yeah,
throwing
David
drinks.
Tepper.
Yeah.
Did you see what happened before the draft?
No.
There's a video of surveillance in a restaurant. Restaurant had a sign up saying basically just let the GM and coach make the pick because the reports are Tepper's involved too much.
Oh, God.
He and some guy walked into the restaurant and like confronted them about it and like took the guy's hat off and like put it on the table.
What a
and it was like,
dink.
what are you doing here, Dave? Like, and it's
Why
not
do
even
you
that
care?
bad. It's just saying, hey, you hired a GM and a coach. Maybe let them make the pick. And he got all upset and offended, and he walked into this restaurant. And now I just have a feeling he's probably going to buy the restaurant and fire people. But
Oh man.
Buy it just to close it down.
Yeah.
Did you guys see, speaking of weirdo owners, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Tony Khan, with his neck brace?
Yeah.
No.
So Tony Khan also owns AEW, All Elite Wrestling.
Right,
and
right.
he's an on-screen character. So, like, he's Vince McMahon Jr., basically,
Okay,
minus
okay.
the sex trafficking. Tony took a bump the night before the draft. He was attacked by a wrestler.
Okay.
So then all week at the draft, he was wearing a neck brace like he's Andy Kaufman, who just got jumped.
I hope he's okay.
It was... Listen, I'm not an AEW fan nor a Jags fan, but incredible move there by Tony Khan to keep kayfabe alive by rocking the neck brace. He was doing interviews on NFL Network with the neck brace on. He's going to auction it off for charity. So like, kudos to him.
amazing.
Like that was... You know what? You know that meme, the worst person you know makes a great point? That's kind of how I felt about Tony Khan. We're wearing the neck brace. So weirdo, but at least
Fantastic.
keeping kayfabe alive.
I feel a little bad because we didn't get to this a little bit throughout. But MCTV Podcast,
Yeah.
you and Corey Graham, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Click on shows, go to Friends of EST. MCTV's there. Links to everything that they have. What do you guys have coming up next? And then Tommy could jump
I
in.
need to ask him something.
Yeah, so May 4th coming up Saturday, big day for Star Wars. There's a trailer we're hoping to get for the Skeleton Crew. That is the Jude Law. He's in a Star Wars show right now. Actually, Jaleel White, who played Steve Urkel,
Yeah,
kind of
Oilers fan.
Yeah, he like spilled the beans about this series at an Oiler game with Gene Principe a few months ago. So hoping to get a
wow.
trailer for that. Now it's blockbuster season. Deadpool and Wolverine are going to have another fundraiser for that. If you want to join us to go see that movie, follow us on MCTV Podcast on X. We'll have more information about that. We go see movies and raise money for charity at the same time. But we're in blockbuster season, man. I'm hoping to go see The Fall Guy this weekend. The new Ryan Gosling
Yep.
vehicle. Looks like a lot of fun. Happy just talking about movies, TVs, and comics. It's a good time for that.
What did you think of Frozen Empire?
Still haven't seen it, man. I have to, like, now having a kid, I have to be more choosy
Yeah.
with the movies I go see. Haven't seen it yet. I do want to go see it. Have you had a chance to see it?
I saw it the first day it came out. It was a great addition
Awesome.
to the Ghostbusters series. So yeah.
Awesome. Do you see Bill Murray riding the train at the Cubs game yesterday?
No,
Or
but
2 days ago?
that does not surprise me.
Yeah, just hopped in a train post game. Was hanging out with all the common
That's
folks.
what he does.
That's what he does.
Monday, Friday, 7 o'clock, Edmonton Sports Talk on iHeart, TuneIn, EdmontonSportsTalk.com if you want to listen as well, or just check out their podcast.
Yes. Thank you.
Apple.
Appreciate it.
You saw the Challengers?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
That is
I
also
do want
on
to see
my
that
list.
one. Okay, yes.
On my
It's
list.
getting great reviews,
It
actually.
is. Like,
So-
Zendaya doesn't make bad decisions.
Doesn't seem so.
She's got really good representation and really good taste. So anything she's in is usually going to be pretty good.
She's outstanding.
Zendaya.
Yes.
I still there's the one episode in season 2 of Euphoria where she's just
I can't
utterly
watch,
stunning.
I
how
can't
great it
watch
was.
that show. Gives me too much anxiety. Like that's
fair.
what kids are doing now? That
I have not seen this.
It's wild. It's a wild show. Season 2, there's a lot of plots that just don't make sense in a sense, but there's a lot of great acting. Sydney Sweeney's in there, and
Oh,
but like also just an amazing.
tell me more.
But like straight up, like I know there's other things people could say that she's great in that show for. Was she actually
Like Madam Web?
No, in that
saw Madam Web.
in that
Yeah.
show, like
Yeah,
how
I know.
But like she's actually was brilliant in it.
Oh,
Like
okay.
there's some unbelievable acting performances that come from Euphoria, and there's one episode of season 2 where it's just Zendaya's character.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable hour-long television.
Okay.
Like she was,
Maybe I'll check
and
it out.
right then it was right a moment like she's winning an award. Immediately right there, like she's got this lockdown because she was that brilliant in this
okay.
one.
she's awesome.
Mark,
Big fan.
thanks for coming into the Hangout once again.
Always appreciate the offer. I'll come anytime you ask. Thanks for having me.
Coming up next, it is the Lock Shop with Dusty and Huss. And then at noon, it's two guys without the goalie, as Cass and Dusty will be on the air recapping the Oilers, finishing off the Kings and looking ahead to their potential opponents, either the Canucks or the Predators. That's all coming up here on Edmonton Sports Talk. On behalf of Tommy, Mark, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning into the EST Hangout presented by Two Hoots. Hard Ice Tea Lock Shop starting in just a few minutes. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First time guest, long time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola with here. Joining us today,